Peace and love, black family. It is the Prince of Pan-Africanism, International Ifatunde, King Kong Consciousness, black community's #1 school psychologist. I'm back at my hotel room. Some of y'all saw me cutting up a little bit, having a little fun with my brothers. You know, when I am invited to speak, especially when I'm invited to speak in faraway places, when brothers and sisters have to go out of their way to raise funds to pay for those international round-trip tickets and to pay for hotels and to pay for me to eat and to pay for me to be transported, I feel that it is my obligation to let them know that I appreciate them. And so in lowering my guard and enjoying the brothers and sisters who brought me to Japan, that's why I did what I did. It was authentic. It was not staged. I just simply decided to be myself around some very good African brothers and sisters. Obviously, I can't do it all the time because, as you could, see, people are extremely accusatory and judgmental whenever I show that I am a regular person. But being as unapologetically African as I am, I don't really give a damn. So with that being said, I can probably count on one hand the amount of times I've been to a club. The first time I went to a club, I believe I was a freshman. Was I a freshman at Millersville University or a senior at Scotland School? But I was young. And my cousin James, shout out to cousin James, the Johnson family, he used to take me to dances. Those of y'all who live in Philly, you know that there used to be a club downtown known as Dances where the young folks would go. And so James took me there twice. I think we went New Year's of 12th grade and then New Year's of freshman year, or New Year's of junior year, and then again New Year's of 12th grade. We brought in the New Year down there, and of course I was out of place because I don't have any rhythm, cursed by my white ancestors, and I might have been to a club once or twice since then. So at 40 years old, tonight was probably maybe the 4th or 5th time I think I ever been inside of a nightclub. But be that as it may, I'm going to talk a little bit, not long, because I got to get up early to do some sightseeing here in Nagoya tomorrow. I think we're going to go and see where the ninjas train and prepare. And I think we're going to visit another Buddhist temple. I'm a big fan of Buddha. Okay. But nonetheless, I want to talk a little bit about my political history. I'm not going to talk about my personal history because in order to do that, I'm going to have to name some people. And at this stage of my life, I don't think it's appropriate that those persons be named. But God willing, before I join the ancestors, I would like to have written a thorough autobiography of the Prince of Pan-Africanism. But to appease for the moment, I'm just going to talk a little bit about my political history, my rise or ascension, if you would, into black consciousness. I am going to start it at the age of 17, which is about 25 years ago. So anyhow, when I graduated from the Scotland School for Veterans Children, I began my undergraduate study at Millersville University in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. I was a psychology major, and immediately I joined the Black Student Union as a freshman, and I was elected president of the Black Student Union in 1990. When was the Million Man March? The Million Man March was 95, I want to say. October 16th, 1995. Am I correct? The Million Man March was October 16th, 1995. And so I had gotten elected to be president of the Black Student Union, and I served in that capacity for normally 2 years. And my first act of office, which was undertaken with the two previous presidents, Kevin and Jamar, we took a trip to the Million Man March, and it was a beautiful experience. We had a bus full of brothers. We went down, got there the night before, stayed over at a church in D.C., woke up early. In fact, at the Million Man March, and we're talking about the original Million Man March of 95, we got there and it was still dark outside. So we took a train, we took the metro. The coach bus let us off right outside of D.C. We took the metro. And when we got out to the mall, it was about 5 in the morning. We got there early on purpose because we knew it would be a large crowd. When we got out to the mall on D.C., okay, and I guess I'm about 20 years old. When we got out to the mall on D.C., got out on the mall in D.C., there was probably only about 50 to 100 people out there, maybe 200 tops. We were some of the first people on the scene at the Million Man March. We were some of the first people. It was dark. The Muslim brothers, not the Nation of Islam, but the Orthodox Sunni Muslim brothers, they were making salat out there. And we were sitting around, you know, it was no big deal at the time because it wasn't too many people out there. It was still dark. It was about 5:30 in the morning. And then as the sun began to rise, the brothers started coming. And so we were fortunate enough to be there so early where we could see the size of the Million Man March grow. We just saw it grow, you know, and by the time 2-3 o'clock had rolled around, you know, you had clearly had more than 1 million black men out there, close to 2 million. And it was just a beautiful time. It was a very, very beautiful time. Nothing but positivity. Black men from all over the world. It was one of the greatest experiences of my life. I'll never forget it from a social standpoint. Okay. Also, backing up a little bit, that was my junior year, but my freshman year at Millersville University, there was a Black Consciousness Conference being hosted at Howard University, a Black Consciousness Conference. So obviously, me being into Black consciousness, I wanted to go. And I thank God for Miss Doris Cross, who is now deceased. She passed away a couple of months ago. She contacted me. She said, "Hey, Umar, do y'all want to go to the Black Consciousness Conference?" I said, "Sure." And I forget all of us who went. Kev went. Did Jamar go? I went. Kevin and Jamar were the two previous Black Student Union presidents at Millersville University prior to myself. But a group of us went. We drove to Howard University, and at that time, this is 1992, I'm a freshman, and at that time, Howard University still had their hotel. Howard University used to have its own hotel. I don't think they have it anymore. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think they have it anymore. And we stayed at the Howard University Hotel. I'll never forget that. So we go to the conference, right? I'm 18, okay? I believe I turned 18 already, okay? And so this is when I first met, for the first time, Dr. Yusuf Ben Yakinen, and he mesmerized me. And after I left Howard University, I said, everything that man has written, I'm going to read it. Every book, every interview, every video. I mean, I was just Dr. Yusuf Ben Yakinen crazy. And so for me, from a historical consciousness perspective, Dr. Yusuf Ben Yakinen would be critical. If you ever had to name someone who was critical in my further development, because I was already conscious, but taking me to the next level, was Dr. Yusuf Ben Yakinen. And with him being a Garveyite, that only added to the respect that I had for him and his work. Also, for the first time, I met Sister Soldier. Sister Soldier spoke at the conference. Also, for the first time, was Dale Jones out of Philadelphia. Some of y'all remember Dale Jones. He was the war correspondent. So Dr. Ben, Sister Soldier, Dale Jones. Guess who else I met for the first time? What's our brother's name out of Chicago? Steve Coakley. So here you is, 18-year-old Umar Johnson. And here I go to this conference and I meet Dr. Yusuf Ben Yakinen, who I never heard of before. Steve Coakley, who I never heard of before. Sister Soldier, who obviously was made popular with the Public Enemy videos, but I never got to meet her in the flesh. Okay. Dale Jones from Philadelphia. I did not know of him, even though I was from Philadelphia. And then I also met for the first time future attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz. Okay. Also there was Ben Chavis. And I believe at the time he was going through the scandal with the NAACP. Okay, if I'm not getting my timeline too confused. So when I got back from the Black Consciousness Conference, I mean, I said to myself, I thought I was conscious. I got to get more conscious. I was already an avid reader, but I intensified that. You know, I just went bananas. So I remember also my freshman year, same year that we went to the Black Consciousness Conference at Howard University, Jamar, who was president of the Black Student Union, he and I think Kev, they arranged to bring the Fugees in. Lauryn Hill, Wyclef, Proswell. I'll never forget it, right? This is the Fugees. Their second album, the blockbuster album, had not happened yet, okay? But the first album was out, Refugee Camp, I guess it was. So I remember we booked their rooms at the Travel Lodge. You know, this is, so you know they wasn't big yet because ain't no hip-hop artist staying at no Travel Lodge today, right? So anyhow, Wyclef shows up. Okay, Proswell shows up. We at the Travel Lodge on Rohrerstown Road. For those of you who went to Millersville University and those of you who live in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, you know Rohrerstown Road. The Travel Lodge on Rohrerstown Road, believe it or not, that's where the Fugees, okay, were scheduled to stay. And I'm going to say scheduled because I can't remember if they stayed overnight. They may have rode back to New Jersey right after the concert. So anyway, they all came separately. Lauryn Hill was running late. So we in a hotel room talking to Wyclef, talking to Proswell. And Proswell wasn't very social. I remember him having a nasty ass attitude, to be honest with you. I don't know what was on his mind. Okay. And it's so ironic because obviously we learned later that Lauryn Hill and Wyclef dated before, right? They dated. I believe they were a couple. Well, guess what? That shocked me when I found out that Lauryn Hill had dated Wyclef because at the concert, Proswell was all up under her, and I thought she was his girl because we went to take a picture together, and he stood in front of her and blocked the camera. So when the picture was taken, the first shot, it was me and his back. And I'm like, why is this hating ass dude going to stand in front of her like that and block the camera? And she appeared to be a little intimidated by him. So I thought they were a couple. So when they said that she dated Wyclef, I'm like, so why was Proswell the one tripping and being so possessive at the concert? But anyhow, we're sitting in the Travel Lodge and Lauryn Hill is running late. Wyclef and Proswell are there. And then all of a sudden, somebody knocks on the door, right? And you know I'm not going to miss no opportunity to meet Lauryn Hill, not 18-year-old Umar Johnson. You can forget that. So somebody knocks on the door. I go to the door and I open the door, and guess who's standing right in front of me at the door of the Travel Lodge, Rohrerstown Road, Lancaster, Pennsylvania? None other than L Boogie Lauryn Hill. And I just stood and looked. I mean, she was drop dead gorgeous. All natural hair. I mean, she was a goddess. A goddess. So she looked up and she said, aren't you going to let me in? So I said, I'm sorry. So I let her in. So we all in the hotel room. All three of the Fugees are there. I'm in there. I think Kev Jamal was there. Some of the Black Student Union sisters was there. So Lauryn Hill sat on the bed next to me. And she put her head on my shoulder. And she said, my stomach is hurting. Okay? And so I kind of figured what she meant by that. When a lady tell you her stomach is hurting. Okay? And she was saying that she was in such uncomfortability that she may not be able to perform. So we're like, oh my God. You know, we got the gymnasium, Priscilla Gymnasium. We're here with the Fugees and we supposed to be on our way to the gym. And Lauryn Hill is saying, I don't know if I'm going to be able to perform. So she just put her head on my shoulder the whole time, right? So we stopped at one of the mini markets and got her something to help her deal with her pain. And then we went and they did the concert and they did an excellent job. The Fugees, and it's such a shame that they never got back together again. It's never too late. I hope they will, because they're one of the greatest hip hop groups of all time, especially in terms of talent, creativity, and performance. Okay. So anyway, the concert is over. I'm standing at the back of the gym. Okay, because I'm still, I'm a freshman. I'm new to the Black Student Union, but I'm the freshman phenom. Okay, so I'm standing at the back of the gym, and it's dark in the gym. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, here comes Lauryn Hill running up to Umar Johnson, all the way at the back of the gymnasium in the dark, and she gives me a big hug, kisses me on the cheek, and says, "Bye, cutie." Now my homies is there. And they say, you a sucker. I said, what? She like you. I said, how the hell I'm going to crack on Lauryn Hill? I don't even know how to crack. I'm only 18. I ain't got no game. You know what I mean? They're like, dude, she likes you. Why else would she come all the way to the back of the... And, I guess we're about the same age, Lauryn Hill and I, so it's not like she was older than me. But I didn't know how to ask her for her phone number. I really didn't. And I always wonder, what could have possibly became of that had I manned up and not been so starstruck and actually asked Lauryn Hill for her phone number. But she gave me a big hug, kissed me on the cheek, and she said, "Bye, cutie." And I'm like, my homie was like, dude. But that was that. Then I remember when the Roots came up, because Tariq, the lead rapper of the Roots, and the former Roots member Malik, they both went to Millersville University. So we went to the same university. Okay, but they had left, I guess, the year before I got there. And I remember we needed somebody for homecoming. And of course, this is Kevin and Jamal at the time, because I don't become president until 95. And we paid the Roots $500. And they did it on the strength of the Black Student Union, because we didn't have any money. And I remember meeting Tariq, you know what I mean? And he was kind of like Proswell a little bit, because he's a shorter brother. So sometimes with the shorter brothers, they got to be a little, tough with it or whatever. But he was all right, you know what I mean? But I tell you this, they rocked that damn concert. He rocked that damn concert. I mean, the Roots put on the show. And this before they blew. So we met the Fugees before they blew. And then we met the Roots right before they blew. You know what I mean? They were just starting out. But I'll never forget that concert because of the way he rocked it. So when I became president of the Black Student Union, we had Dougie Fresh for the concert. And it was good meeting Dougie. And Dougie rocked. Dougie rocked the concert. You know what I mean? And he put on the show. So the Fugees, the Roots, Dougie Fresh, like these are true performers, because in the rap world, and I learned all this being in the Black Student Union, a lot of rappers only put on a good show when they on the Grammys or the Soul Train Awards. When they come to the colleges, they will do 10 minutes, take your money, and walk their ass off the stage. So anyway, when I became president of the Black Student Union, my final concert was Spring Fling, April of 1997. and we almost didn't have a concert because we didn't have enough money. But the Student Activities Board, which is the white student activities, they had made me a promise that they was going to give me a couple $1,000, and they tried to renege on the promise. So I went to the vice president, Riker, Dr. Riker, who was a white guy, but he was cool with me to an extent, obviously, because we know the rules of white supremacy. But anyhow, I went to him and I said, yo, they promised me that they was going to give the Black Student Union some money for the concert. And he said, don't worry about it. I'm going to take care of it. So we had meetings and everything. We would go sit in at the University Activities Board and the Student Senate. And just as a historical point, because at that time, I was still heavy into Sunni Orthodox Islam. So I was the first, I believe I was the first African-American male secretary of Millersville University Student Senate. And I believe I was the first African-American Muslim officer of Millersville University Student Senate in history. But be that as it may, we got the money. So I got Jay-Z and KRS-One. Now, Kevin Jamal had Jay-Z KRS-One a couple years ago. Now, I was working on getting Little Kim. And of course, y'all probably saying, why are you getting them? It's because it's the concert. I mean, I was conscious, but you know, they want a concert and they entitled to that. Okay. We were young and that's what we was into. So Biggie got murdered. And let me tell you how I found out Biggie got murdered. I'll never forget this. And I'm going to shout out to Moana, Sister Moana, who was the recording secretary or the corresponding secretary of the Black Student Union. But I got to shout out Moana because Moana would always take me to Westchester to give out flyers. We would go to Cheney to give out flyers. We would go to Lincoln to give out flyers. Where else do we go? Cheney, Lincoln, Westchester. What other school is around there? But we would go to all the schools in our area to give out flyers. So me and Moana, what happened? It's the day to go give out the flyers for... I'm trying to remember how this went down. I think it was going to be Little Kim and KRS. I think it was going to be Little Kim and KRS-One. Okay. So we're about to go give out these flyers with Little Kim and KRS-One, I believe. And Moana, you got to refresh my memory. I don't know if we made the switch yet. We're in the car driving to Lincoln University to give out the flyers for the Little Kim KRS-One concert, and the radio announced rapper Christopher Wallace was shot and killed in a drive-by yesterday in Los Angeles. I'll never forget it. We were sitting in the car. We was in Moana's car right outside the Student Activity Center at Millersville University, and me and Moana just looked at each other like, oh my God. Oh my God. So anyway, we went to give out the flyers, right? And guess what? We get to Lincoln University. I'll never forget this. This is unwritten history. We get to Lincoln University the day after Biggie is murdered. In the entire campus, every student had Christopher Wallace shrines outside on the main campus, on their door. Everybody's dorm door was covered with Christopher Wallace pictures. They was blasting Biggie music all on Lincoln University campus. Then we went to Cheney, same thing. Cheney University, every student dorm door was covered with Biggie Smalls. You heard nothing but Biggie music. People were crying. Some of the students were crying. We lived through this. This was the day that we gave out flyers for the Little Kim KRS-One concert. We went to Westchester. Westchester being a white college, we didn't see as much memorial, but it was still there. I mean, it was just amazing because we lived through that. The day after he was murdered, that's the day we went to give out the flyers. Now, let me go back a year. When Tupac was murdered, because Tupac is my favorite rapper, I went from Public Enemy to Tretch to Tupac. So anyhow, my father, it was family day. It was family day at Millersville University. It was a football game. Okay, they had an annual family day. It was a football game. So my father, he decides to show up unannounced, as he always do, without no warning. And I'm chilling with my girlfriend. I think my girlfriend was in the room. So my dad knocks on the door, but I'm thinking it's one of my homies, like, are you going to go watch the football game? So I get up and I peek out my dorm door, and my dad is standing outside my door. I'm like, dude, and I don't want him to know I got my queen in the room, because I'm only, when Tupac died, at 22, 21, 22? You don't want your dad in your business, right? So anyway, I let my dad go downstairs, okay, out of respect for my queen, right? So when my dad go downstairs, she goes to her room, because I was in Burroughs Hall, which was co-ed at the time. I believe Burroughs was co-ed at the time. So my dad comes back up, and I let him in, and he says, you heard what happened? And I said, nah, what happened? He says, your boy got murdered. And I'm thinking somebody back home in North Philly, you know what I mean? I'm like, who? He said, Tupac is dead. And my dad was never a big Tupac fan, right? I said, what? He said, Tupac is... I said, hell no. So I turned on the TV, and there it was on the TV. Tupac Shakur, okay, died yesterday, blah, 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 as a result of a drive-by that occurred a couple of days ago, boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean? And I was blown. I was blown. Okay, I wasn't a big Biggie fan at the time. Biggie grew on me after Biggie died, because I couldn't really relate to Biggie's materialism, because I wasn't into that. But he grew on me, after he passed. But Pac, I was Pac to the death. I was Tupac to the death. And so guess what? My door became a shrine. My door became a shrine, and I had Tupac stuff all over the place. And I used to write for the Millersville University student paper. Okay, and so I did a Tupacalypse Forever article that week. And a lot of the African-American students at Millersville University, they appreciated the Tupac article that I wrote. I remember Tupac was supposed to perform in Philly at the Robin Hood Del East. Some of y'all remember that. Tupac was supposed to perform in Philadelphia at the Robin Hood Del East. This is all around the same time. I believe I'm already at Millersville. I'm a freshman or a sophomore, and I got my Tupac ticket. I'm like, I'm going to finally see Tupac. I got my ticket. I'm ready. And guess what? I'm listening to Power 99, and it comes across the radio, Power 99, that Philadelphia, the city of Philadelphia, has forced the promoters of the Tupac concert to cancel the concert. There will be no Tupac concert. I damn near cried. I bought my ticket before they sold out. I was ready. Had my Tupac t-shirt. I'm like, I'm going to see Pac. I'm going to meet Pac. I'm going to sing all the songs with Pac. And the damn city of Philadelphia, I think we had racist Mayor Rendell. Was Rendell the mayor, or was John Street the mayor? But be that as it may, they thought Tupac was going to bring violence and revolution and all this stuff to Philly. And so the Tupac concert got canceled. And my one and only time to see Tupac live was disrupted by white supremacy. So anyhow, moving back up, it's time for the Jay-Z concert, the Jay-Z KRS-One concert, right? So KRS-One made me upset that night because, and mind you, I'm a senior now. I'm graduating in a couple weeks, so I want to go out with a bang. I thank God. I was blessed by God to get that money from the white University Activities Board so we can have enough money to pay for Jay-Z and KRS-One. We paid KRS-One $10,000. In fact, KRS-One Step Into My World song had just dropped. Y'all remember that? Step into my world. Boop, 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 boop. The Step Into My World single had just popped. He wanted 10 grand. And I'm saying, his manager showed up. And I'm telling his manager, like, yo, we paying this dude $10,000 and he not even here yet. He didn't leave New York City. You know, New York City to Lancaster, PA is like a 4-hour ride damn near. So KRS-One, I think they said he forgot he had to do the show or some shit. I'm like, how you forget you got a damn show at a college's spring concert? Are you crazy? So anyhow, KRS-One finally gets there. Jay-Z shows up. Okay, we paid Jay-Z $6,000 just to show you. He, In My Lifetime Volume 1. Jay-Z, In My Lifetime Volume 1 had just dropped. Okay. The first album, Reasonable Doubt, obviously was already out, right? I was not a Jay-Z fan at the time, but he was real popular. So I said, let's get Jay-Z. But Jay-Z was not known for putting on a good show. So we got KRS-One because we knew if Jay-Z gave us a poor-ass show, KRS-One would be our insurance. KRS-One would rock it. And since KRS-One had a new song out, he would take it even further. Because once he do the Bridge Is Over, it's a wrap. So when you hear that Bridge Is Over beat, the crowd went crazy. So anyhow, Jay-Z shows up in a limousine, right? He's with B-High. Jay-Z and B-High. You see, so he in a white limo, all that, player stuff. It's time for him to go on stage. He finally comes out. A whole group of Brooklyn dudes come, and they want to get in for free. They screaming, talking about, we with Jay-Z, you got to let us in. We with Jay-Z, you got to let us in. I'm like, dude, we can't let no whole army in. So I got tired of them cursing and screaming and acting like fools, and I knew the university police would look for any excuse to shut us down, so I let them in. Jay-Z's backstage with B-High and with his homies from Brooklyn. And guess what they doing? Jay-Z did his show. He did a couple songs. I wasn't impressed with the performance, but the audience liked it. He probably rocked for about 20 minutes. I wasn't really impressed. He had 2 albums. Now he got a whole catalog, right? So anyway, the show is over, and I guess they're looking for girls to take to the hotel. I don't know. So Jay-Z and his homies is like signaling girls to come back. They kind of, girls wanted to take pictures with Jay-Z, but the university police said we can't have all them back here. That's a security breach, and we'll shut it down. They didn't want the black kids to have no concert anyway. Y'all feel me? So they was looking for any way to shut us down. So Jay-Z and his homies is like bringing the girls, and it was okay to do a couple, but then all the girls wanted to go back there, and the security's like, Umar, if they don't stop, we gonna shut it down. So I'm telling B-High and Jay-Z, y'all got to chill because these crackers don't want us to have no show anyhow, and they gonna shut us down, even though the lead cop was black, but black cop. Anyhow, KRS-One, black cop, but anyhow. Me and Jay-Z gets into an argument. The Prince of Pan-Africanism and Jay-Z, Sean Carter, get into an argument along with B-High. Because I'm telling them, y'all got to stop pulling girls back because KRS-One hasn't performed. And if they shut our concert down, people not going to get to see KRS-One. So we go back and forth, almost get into a fight. Yes, Umar Johnson and Jay-Z almost got into a fight in 1997 at Priscilla Gymnasium at Millersville University. True story. True story. So they finally leave. Okay? KRS-One still ain't there yet. So now the crowd is getting restless because they're like, yo, Umar, do y'all really have KRS-One coming? Because we paid for KRS-One and Jay-Z. You know how black folks is. We want our money back. So I'm stressing because the security is like, we gotta be out of here by 2 a.m. or something. They was getting on my damn nerves. They would not work with me. I said, listen, these people paid to see KRS-One. We paid him $10,000. Y'all got to wait. He finally gets there. And I got to give him credit. He tore that damn show up. He showed up with his dancers. Remember KRS-One used to have the dancers. They were flipping and standing on each other's head. KRS-One tore that damn show up. He tore that show up. He killed it. Bridge Is Over, Step Into My World. And I didn't realize that man was that tall. KRS-One is like 6'6", because most rappers are kind of short. Jay-Z probably grew a couple inches since then. He looked taller. But at that time, I was about 3 inches taller than Jay-Z, and I was 6'2". So at the time, he was about 5'10". He seems to be more like a 6'2" now. He might have been a late bloomer. So be that as it may, KRS-One blew it down, and that was it. And we graduated in a couple weeks. So I graduated, I believe that was May 17th, 1997, which is the anniversary of the Brown versus Board of Education decision. I go back to Philly. And I'm walking up Cecil B. Moore Avenue in North Philly. because growing up in North Philly, my mom always bought my sneakers from a Jewish sneaker store known as Hollywood Sneaker Store at 16th and Cecil B. Moore. If you live in Philly, you know all about Hollywood Sneaker Store, right? It's still there. It's a shame because we had a black sneaker store across the street, Footstop, and it closed down because black people would not buy sneakers from the black man. They kept on buying sneakers from the white man, even though the black man was selling the same sneakers that the white man was selling. That's that self-hate. So anyhow, I've been getting my sneakers from Hollywood since I was in the 4th grade. 4th grade, right? So in the 4th grade, you're like, what, 10? Now I'm 23, right? 22, 23. College graduate. Right next to Hollywood is this building that been there my whole life, but I never knew what it was. It was divine order that they painted the building red, black, and green. So all of a sudden, the building next to the sneaker store where my mother been buying my sneakers for over 10 years has a red, black, and green flag painted on it, right? With a picture of the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey in the window. So I'm like, what is this place? Red, black, and green. Marcus Garvey, right next to the place I've been buying sneakers since I was in the 4th grade at 10. Now I'm a 23-year-old college graduate. 13 years of sneakers. I keep going to this place and it's always locked. It's always closed. I'm knocking on the door. I'm ringing the bell. I'm leaving notes because I'm like, what is this? This is some type of black consciousness. What is this place? And they just painted it, so I knew that the people were still there. So one day I go and an elder walks around the corner up 16th Street. He comes around the corner from 16th Street up to Cecil B. Moore. His name was Johnny Gossett. He just passed away. Elder Gossett, rest in peace. He says, "Can I help you?" I said, "Well, you got a picture of Garvey. You got a red, black, and green flag. This is my neighborhood. I've never seen this building before. And I've been buying sneakers next door from y'all since I was a baby. What is this?" He says, "This is the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League." Now, I didn't know the name of the Garvey movement, you understand. He said, "This is the UNIA. And we've been here since the 40s or the 60s. And I said, "I've never seen no red, black, and green on this building before. I've been buying sneakers." He said, "That's because, we never painted it." So he said, "Come back Sunday at 3 o'clock. I told him who I was, graduated from Millersville, Black Student Union. I was leading the Black Power, all that, He said, "Come back Sunday at 3 o'clock. And for those of y'all who know Garvey's history, Marcus Garvey been holding meetings for the UNIA every Sunday at 3 o'clock since he started the organization in Jamaica 1914, right? And the UNIA still meets at 3 o'clock every Sunday for over 100 years now, right? So I come in and I meet all the elders. Everybody's older. They're old enough to be my father. They're old enough to be my grandfather. And they say this is the Garvey movement. And I'm like, I need to study more about Marcus Garvey. I mean, I knew who he was, but I didn't know who he was. So I'm coming every Sunday. I graduated every Sunday. I'm coming to the meetings. I joined up, got my membership card. 23-year-old Umar Johnson is now officially a member of the UNIA. So I'm working as a TSS worker. I get accepted to Hahnemann University to start my master's in psychology. But Hahnemann University wanted like $20,000 a year. I said, damn, that's a lot of money. I said, you know what? I was Black Student Union president. I was president of the Student Senate. I was on the president advisory board. I wrote for the paper. I was a pretty well-known student leader. I said, maybe I should go back to Millersville because I can probably get a graduate assistantship that'll pay for my college, pay for my master's program, right? So I tell Hahnemann I'm leaving. I'm the only black guy in the master's program. So the white director comes to me and he says, if we find you some scholarship money, will you stay? If we find you some scholarship money, will you stay? And I said, well, probably not, because if I can get a graduate assistantship at Millersville University for free, there will be no need for me to stay. So he says, if you're going to go back to Millersville, you might want to look into school psychology. Now, I had never known much about school psychology. I was always clinical. I always wanted to get my doctorate in clinical psychology since I was in 3rd grade. But he said school psych. But before he said that, I was already considering the school psychology program at Millersville University because it was interesting. When I was going through the graduate brochure of Millersville University, they had a dual master's where you get your certification to be a teacher and you get your certification to be a school psychologist. So I was going to do it anyway. But the white guy said, listen, if you don't get your school psych cert, even when you get your doctorate, you cannot test for special ed. And he said, I don't have my special ed cert. Even though I'm a licensed psychologist, I can't do special ed work. Okay, so he said, make sure you get it. So I pretty much made up my mind. I go back to Millersville. Okay, so I'm home. I started my master's program in January of 98. I graduated May of 97. So that's June, July, August, September, October, November, December. 8 months, I'm going to the UNIA. I'm going to the study group. I'm getting my Garvey on. Intense. I'm getting my Garvey on. I go back to Millersville to get my school psychology cert, my master's degree, my first master's. And of course, I know y'all Negroes say I ain't got no degrees. But anyway, so while I'm at Millersville, I'm still coming home for the weekend working on my master's, and I'm still going to the Garvey meetings, right? As many as I could. I graduate with my master's 2 days before my 25th birthday, August the 19th of 2000. Now, this is interesting that I graduate Y2K. So Y2K was really the birth of Papa. Y2K was really the birth of Papa. It wasn't the birth of me on the conscious scene, but it was the birth of me as a revolutionary black school psychologist. Because after I graduated from Millersville with my first master's degree, undergrad, I had 2 degrees, psychology and political science. So I had 3 degrees at this time. I go back and I do my internship with the School District of Philadelphia for 1 year. I'm back in Philly and I'm getting my Garvey on, getting my Garvey on, getting my Garvey on. I get certified to be a school psychologist in 2000, okay, going into 2001. And I'll never forget this. After I did my internship, we had to take a test to get hired. You had to take a test to become a school psychologist. So I took the test and I came in first place. I came in first place my year that I finished my intern, and I applied to be a school psychologist with the School District of Philadelphia, and I became the youngest of only 5. I became the youngest of only 5 African-American male school psychologists in the 5th largest school district in America, the School District of Philadelphia. So I was the baby, but I was a hell-raising baby, because all during my internship, I'm being asked to evaluate black children who don't have nothing wrong with them. And I'm like, Millersville University trained me well. Okay, it was a National Association of School Psychologists program. I became a nationally certified school psychologist, a credential that I voluntarily gave up a couple years ago because I didn't feel the National Association of School Psychologists was doing anything to fight back against the overdiagnosis of black boys with ADHD, learning disabilities, and the overplacement of black boys in special ed. And since it was only a professional organization anyway, basically you make money, they make money. You basically pay. If you belong to a professional organization, you pay. So I'm giving my money, couple $100 a year, to the National Association of School Psychologists, and you guys aren't doing nothing to protect black boys. I said, I'm giving it up. Now, of course, later down the road, some of you, my haters, would contact the National Association of School Psychologists to find out if I really was a school psychologist. And of course, they told you that I was, but they also told you that I was no longer nationally certified. But what you hating ass idiots didn't ask was whether or not I voluntarily gave up my credential or whether it was taken. Okay, I voluntarily gave up my credential. In fact, I still get mail from the National Association asking me to rejoin. And I'm not going to rejoin until they start doing something to dismantle the school to prison pipeline. But of course, you jackasses, and I'm only talking to the haters, you jackasses who don't know diddly squat about psychology, running around calling up white folks on me because your ass is jealous and don't know what the hell you talking about. But anyway, getting back on task, I get hired by the school district of Philadelphia after my intern year. I get a phone call, right? You're hired. Come down to the school district central office tomorrow to come get your testing equipment. So, you know, as a school psychologist, we got to get our testing equipment. IQ tests, achievement tests, emotional tests, psychological tests, visual motor tests. So Umar Johnson is a brand new school. I got my first real job. My first real job was to be a school psychologist for the school district of Philadelphia. So I get down to the headquarters. Listen to this, y'all. Listen to this. This is significant. I get downtown Philadelphia to pick up my school psychologist paperwork, and everybody's running around like it's a war going on. And guess what day it was? My first day to report for work was September 11th, 2001. My first day to report to work to pick up my psychological assessment tools was 9/11/2001. I get down to the school district and the school psychologist supervisor, I said, I come to get my test equipment. Guess what he said? He said, you worrying about test equipment, you better pick up a gun. I said, pick up a gun? What the hell is going on? So I rush into the office and everybody got their TV on, and you know what's on TV, right? The Twin Towers. That morning, the first plane hit the one tower, and then the other plane hit the other tower, and I find it to be more than coincidental. I find it to be more than coincidental that the first day of work for who would become arguably the most important black school psychologist in American history. I'm going to say it. I'm not saying it out of arrogance. I'm saying it out of truthfulness. I find it to be more than a coincidence that on the first day of work, for who would become the most critical black school psychologist in American history, his first day of work is the same day that the Twin Towers of New York City dropped. Facts. And when I look back at that being my first day of work, I look at it symbolically. First of all, I want to say rest in peace to everyone who lost their life, black or white, okay? And my heart goes out to all of you who lost relatives in that situation, okay? I am of the opinion that that was an inside job. I do not believe it had anything to do with no Arabs or terrorists. That was the United States government who killed its own people and plundered its own towers to justify going into Afghanistan to stop the Taliban from burning up the poppy seed. Afghanistan is the #1 opium producing nation on the planet. Afghanistan makes more opium than any other country. The Taliban burned the crops, and the United States government need to justify getting in there to replant the poppy seed and to get that oil. So they dropped the Twin Towers so they can go in there. Facts. They even had their own commission report that you can buy at any Barnes & Noble book that clearly showed that they had foreknowledge of what was going to happen. In fact, I'm probably going to have to do a Facebook seminar on 9/11. I don't really like to get into it too much because I know for people who lost people they loved, it's too much to stomach for them to believe that their own government killed them. It's too much to stomach to believe that their own government killed them. So be that as it may, for Umar Johnson, the Twin Towers were symbolic. For Umar Johnson,
to begin his first day of work on the day that the Twin Towers dropped. For me, the first tower was the Tower of Special Education. And for me, the second tower was ADHD. For me, the first tower was special education. And for me, the second tower was ADHD. In other words, symbolically, I believe the ancestors set me up to work, first day of work on 9/11, because I was being sent by my ancestors to drop the twin towers of special education and ADHD. Call me crazy, call me psychotic, call me delusional, but I really believe that that was symbolic, that this man is being sent by his ancestors to drop the twin towers of special ed and ADHD and to destroy the school to prison pipeline. So again, I'm getting my Garvey on, I'm getting my Garvey on, I'm getting my Garvey on. So now I'm about to tell y'all how my public speaking career began. Remember I said earlier, I'm the youngest member of the UNIA in Philadelphia. I'm the only youth. Everybody's old enough to be my father and grandfather. In fact, I have to credit those old men, most of whom are now ancestors, for feeding me so much wisdom. Because I believe the wisdom that those Garveyite elders gave me is partly responsible for why I am where I am globally in the Black consciousness movement. Because I learned firsthand from men who were born in the 20s. I was learning firsthand from men who was born in the 30s. I was learning from men who saw Marcus Garvey. I was learning from men who met Dr. King. I was learning from men who knew Malcolm. I was getting all this information. It was like a re-education. So I'm getting my Garvey on, right? And because the meetings in Philadelphia at the Philadelphia UNIA were not well organized, and I don't say that as a slight, I say it as the truth. The meetings were not well organized. So the elders would always ask me at the end of the Sunday meeting, young blood, they called me young blood, right? Young blood, I'm 25, young blood. Get on up there and tell people, talk to them about what's happening with our kids in the school system. Okay? So they made me stand up and talk. And I never knew I was no great orator or nothing like that. I would stand up and I would say, hey, I'm Umar Johnson. I'm a school psychologist here in the city, the school district of Philadelphia. I work at Vaux Middle School, Wanamaker Middle School. I'm also the school psychologist for Bodine down at 4th and Girard. I do work at William Penn High School. The school psychologist is someone who evaluates kids, da-da-da-da-da. All y'all done heard that a million times, okay? I say that at my lectures. And so I'm just breaking down special ed. I'm breaking down the learning disability. I'm breaking down ADHD. I'm breaking down autism. I'm not thinking nothing special. So then all of a sudden, people would come to the Garvey meetings and they would say, would you mind coming to my church? Would you mind speaking at my Kwanzaa event? Would you mind coming to our community center? Would you mind talking to would you mind coming to our juvenile delinquency center and talk to our boys? They can see a young man with his master's degree. So my public career was started in the Garvey movement. I am a child. I'm a true child of Marcus Garvey. Malcolm X was a true child of Marcus Garvey because Malcolm X was raised in the UNIA. Umar Johnson, although I didn't join until I was 23, I would say that I was raised in the UNIA. If it was not for the Garvey movement, you might not know me today because it was the Garvey movement. It was the red, black, and green that gave me my platform to begin speaking. My first out-of-town events was for the UNIA. They flew me to Atlanta to speak for the Atlanta UNIA, and I'll never forget it because when I spoke, Elder Mwali Mubarudi came to hear me. Elder Mwali Mubaruti in Atlanta came to hear me when the Atlanta UNIA brought me down to speak. Okay. And then they flew me to North Carolina to speak for the Durham, North Carolina UNIA. We spoke at North Carolina Central. So that was my first college speech ever, was for the UNIA at North Carolina Central. We had a regional conference, and I spoke with Renoko Rashidi and Tony Martin. And I'll never forget Renoko. Shout out to Renoko, Garveyite master teacher. In fact, I need Renoko to get with me because I think I want to bring Renoko on some of my lectures. I think I want to bring Renoko Rashidi on some of my lectures because he doesn't really get the props that he's entitled to. And plus, he's a master teacher and he's a Garveyite like me. So check this out. And Tony Martin is the author of Race First. Tony Martin republished The Philosophy and Opinions of Marcus Garvey. Tony Martin has written more books on Marcus Garvey than any other Garvey scholar. So you got Umar Johnson, the baby. You got Renoko, the accomplished scholar. You got Tony Martin, the official scholar for the Garvey movement, right? So we on the back of the Garvey newspaper, the Garvey's Voice, and everybody like, you moving up, young blood. They say, young blood, you about to take the stage with some major people. So I'm like, okay, this is my chance to shine. This is my chance. North Carolina Central. And I got up there and I tore it down. And when we were done, we went to the restaurant to eat. And Tony Martin, rest in peace, because he passed away he just stood staring at me. True story, y'all. Tony Martin, the Garvey scholar who wrote Race First, which is a book that all of y'all need to read. I think it's the best book written on the history of the Garvey movement other than Garvey and Garveyism, written by Queen Mother Amy Jakes Garvey, rest in peace. So Tony Martin is staring. And you know what I'm saying to myself as I'm sitting there? He wasn't staring with negativity. He was staring with shock. He never heard of me ever in his life. First time Tony Martin, the official scholar for the Garvey movement, historian for the Garvey, ever seen Umar Johnson was on stage at North Carolina Central, right? And I was the last person to speak. Tony Martin is looking at me with his eyes wide open. And I'm saying to myself, this man is in awe because you remind him so much of Marcus Garvey. He is looking because he sees in you the potential to do what Garvey do. I don't know if that's what he felt, brothers and sisters. I don't know if that's what he's felt. But you ever see somebody just drop their mouth wide open like you have no idea who you are? That's the look he gave me. You have no idea who you are. And then Renoko comes over, right? Renoko don't know me either. I mean, he heard of me, but he don't know me that well. And he's never seen me speak. And I'll never forget this. And I don't even know if Renoko remembers this. Elder Renoko remembers this. Renoko walked over to me. And I don't know if you remember this, Renoko. You looked over at me and you said, what did you say? You said, remember me when you get famous. Renoko Rashidi said, Renoko said something about you're going to be famous. And don't forget us little people, or remember me when you become famous. And basically, I took that to mean, to have Renoko Rashidi say that to me, I took that to mean that he was basically, to some extent, giving me an anointing. But anyway, I was still local Umar Johnson. I was known in Philly. I was known throughout the UNIA. So they flew me to Atlanta. They flew me to North Carolina. And then we drove to New York. I spoke at the UNIA in Brooklyn or Harlem. But it was only for UNIA people. It wasn't public. Okay? So basically, I was just a local Pennsylvania school psychologist, right? And that went on from 2000 all the way to 2010. So we about to jump 10 years. Y'all ready for the jump? Because now I'm about to bring y'all into where we are now. So it's 2010. Wait, I got to back up. I go to Africa in 2005. I go to Africa for the first time. I become Minister of Education in 2004. I get appointed Minister of Education for the entire UNIA 2004. I go to Africa in 2005. Why does Dr. Umar Johnson go to Africa? Because we were at a Marcus Garvey exoneration program at the African American Museum in Philadelphia. Julius Garvey was there, Marcus Garvey's son. We met for the first time. The UNIA was trying to do what? Exonerate Marcus Garvey's name from those trumped up charges that J. Edgar Hoover put on the greatest black leader of the 20th century. And we had a program at the African American Museum in Philadelphia in order to fight to get Garvey exonerated, right? Julius Garvey speaks, other leaders speak, and then I speak. In fact, I was the moderator. And Julius Garvey comes over to me, the son of Marcus Garvey, and he says, "You remind me of Malcolm X. You are so much Malcolm X." This is what Julius Garvey tells me. And then I look up at Dr. Julius Garvey, and I say, "I'm disappointed, because I don't just want to remind you of Malcolm X. I want to remind you of your daddy, Marcus Garvey. Why don't I remind you of you?" And Julius Garvey says, "Well, you got to remember something, Umar. I was a young man when my father died. So I really, didn't get a chance to see him speak on the platform as often as I got a chance to see Malcolm X, because me and Malcolm X would be about the same age." So he says, don't take offense. It's just that Malcolm is who I really got to see mature, and my father passed away when I was still a young man. So we laughed it off. But anyway, a brother by the name of Nnamdi Azikiwe from the Washington, D.C. UNIA. Nnamdi Azikiwe comes over and he says, "They need you in Africa, brother." He said, "They need you in Africa, brother." And then also Dr. Temple University, Malefi Asante was there. Dr. Malefi Asante also spoke with Julius Garvey and myself at the Marcus Garvey exoneration program in Philly. This is 04. This is 04. So it's Julius, it is Malefi, and is the young prince. But I'm not the prince of Pan-Africanism yet. I'm on my way. I'm still local. New York ain't heard of me yet. Chicago ain't heard of me yet. Detroit ain't heard of me yet. Africa hasn't heard of me yet. Jamaica hasn't heard of me yet. China, Japan, England, Canada, they don't know about me yet. Okay? So then anyway, Nnamdi Azikiwe says, "They need you in Africa." I said, "I'm ready, brother. I'm ready to go to Africa." He said, "We got UNIA chapters in Africa who feel that they're not being given the attention that they deserve." And he said, "You are Minister of Education. You should use your Ministry of Education to go to Africa and build." And I say, "That's what I'm going to do." So Nnamdi Azikiwe gave me the number of a travel agent, Kia Travel. Some of y'all who live in Washington, D.C., you might be familiar with Kia Travel, KIA. They're Ethiopians. So I called Kia Travel and I said, "I need to go to South Africa. I need to go to Nigeria. I need to go to Senegal," right? Now, Kia Travel said, "Would you mind being in Ethiopia for a couple days?" I said, "Sure." Because the Rasta brothers was in Ethiopia, and the Rasta brothers told me that I need to go to Shashamani. Shout out to my Rastas, my Naya Bengi Rastas, my 12 Tribe Rastas, my EWF Rastas, and shout out to my Bobo Shanti Rastafari. Freedom, redemption, international repatriation. So, my mother think I'm crazy, right? My family think I'm crazy because I come home and I tell them that I'm going to Africa for 30 days and 30 nights by myself. They said, "What?" Mind you, I'm 29 years old. I said, "I'm going to Africa for the first time by myself because nobody else can go for 30 days and 30 nights. And since I'm a psychologist with the School District of Philadelphia, I get the summers off, right? I get the summers off. So I'm going. We got a Garvey chapter in South Africa, Johannesburg. We got a Garvey chapter in Dakar, Senegal. And we got several Garvey chapters in Nigeria. And I'm going over there to let them know that we need them because nobody else is doing it. I'm the only young person on the parent body of the Universal Negro Improvement Association Association, and I'm going to take it upon my responsibility to go and spread the Garvey message. So they scared. I go and get my yellow fever shot. I do all that. I pay for my ticket. Okay, and it's time to go. I went to Africa on July the 1st, and I got back August the 2nd, I believe it was. I was in Ethiopia for a week, South Africa for a week, Senegal for a week, Nigeria. So I did Ethiopia, South Africa. My luggage, I had to wear the same clothes for almost a whole week in South Africa because Homeland Security, this I know the government been watching me for a long time. Homeland Security took my luggage and shipped it to Germany somewhere. And they went through my luggage. And it took me a week to get my luggage. And I know they was wondering what I was doing because I had a whole bunch of red, black, and green flags and Garvey books. I know they like, you know, he got an Arabic name, Umar Abdullah Johnson, but he got a suitcase full of red, black, and green flags. Is he going to Africa to start a revolution? So anyway, I finally get my luggage. Then I go to Nigeria. I love Nigeria. I loved all the countries. When I first got to Ethiopia, when I landed in Africa for the first time, I land in Ethiopia. That was powerful. My first time I set foot on African soil, it was in the cradle of civilization. And when I stayed in Ethiopia, I stayed at the Hotel Gihan. I stayed at Hotel Gihan, which was built by His Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I. So I'm in Ethiopia. I'm a little scared because I'm in Africa for the first time. I'm by myself. It's dark outside. I don't know what the CIA and the FBI are up to. So then I order some food, right? And I never forget this. It almost made me cry. The brother who brought my food walks in. And I really believe, brothers and sisters, that a spirit was in that brother, because when he walked in my room, he was so humble. He was so humble. He said, "Welcome to Africa, my brother. Here is your food. If there's anything I can do to help you or to help make your stay." And I'm trying to remember what he said. And I cried. I cried because here I am in Africa. Wait a minute, because I ain't going to cry again. Hold on. Okay. All right, I'm back. Woo.
Let me try to get through this. All right. I'm going to skip that. I got to skip that. So, my last week in Africa, okay, we good. We good. Okay. My last week, I'm in Senegal. We go to Senegal. So I did Ethiopia. I did South Africa. I did Nigeria. We get to Senegal, right? Senegal is the last stop. It's the last week. I say, I want to go to Goree Island because I've never been to the slave dungeon. So I say I want to go to Goree Island. So the brother, my host, I forget his name. What was the brother's name? I forget his name. So he takes me to Goree Island. So I say to myself, mind you, I was raised Sunni Orthodox Muslim. My mother's people Christian. My father raised us Muslim. So we get to Goree Island and we going through the dungeons. Goree Island, Senegal. We going through the dungeons. And you know you got to take a boat to get out to Goree Island. So I had some water, right? Got a little cup. But I had a bottle. I had a bottle of water. And I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm in Africa for the first time. I'm going to pour me some libations to my ancestors. That's what I said. I said, I'm in Africa for the first time. I'm going to pour me some libations to my ancestors. So I walk into the female slave dungeon. And what I'm telling y'all now is very personal because I believe everything that I've become and everything that I continue to evolve to started in that female slave dungeon in Goree Island. I believe that with my whole heart. I believe everything started that last week of July 2005. So I take my bottle of water, I get down on one knee, and I start pouring libation. And I basically, when I poured the libation, I would say like a little prayer to the ancestors, right? First time. I never did this in my life, okay? All I knew was 5 salats. You got me? A day. But I said, I'm going to do this. Something is making me call on my aunt. I'm going to do this. Okay? And of course, Senegal is a Muslim country too. So I basically asked my ancestors to put me in a position. I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember the exact words. That was 12 years ago. But I basically asked my ancestors to put me in a position so that I could avenge their suffering, redeem their suffering, and fix the problems of our people. That's basically. So I'm on one knee and I start crying, but the tears don't feel like mine. The tears feel like they somebody else's tears. So I get a little scared and I get up and I go outside the dungeon. And I said, whoa, that was kind of heavy. I'm a psychologist and I don't smoke or drink. I mean, now I do a little red wine once in the blue moon, okay? But I don't smoke or drink, so I don't do no crack or drugs. So what was that just happened? I'm saying to myself. So I said, let me go back into this dungeon and try it again. So I go back in the dungeon and get back on the knee and I start spilling and I start tearing, but the tears feel heavy. So I don't think nothing of it. You know, I said, okay, I was emotional, slavery, Goree Island, okay? Millions of Africans came through there. I get back to my hotel room, right? The same day we visited Goree Island. Mind you, I've been in Africa for a month. Senegal, the last stop. This is divine. This was divine. So I get back to my hotel room. I said, let me call my mother, because I know she worried about whether or not the Africans is over here slicing me up, you know. Not that she said that. I'm just being sarcastic. But I said, let me call my mom to let her know I'm okay. So I call my mom. It's daylight outside. After I call my mom, I go back to the hotel room, right? It's daylight. I sit down on the hotel bed like I'm sitting now on this hotel bed. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, in broad daylight, I'm not asleep. I'm not laying down. It's not dark outside. All of a sudden, in broad daylight, my room starts spinning. The room gets dark. I start hearing screams. I start hearing the screams of our ancestors, the cries of our ancestors. I'm hearing whips. I'm hearing chains. I'm hearing horses. I'm hearing cows, and it's scaring the shit out of me. I'm feeling like I'm a tinkle on myself. I'm giving it to y'all straight. If I'm lying, I'm in the presence of God right now. Okay? I'm having a schizophrenic episode, but I'm not schizophrenic. I'm having a psychotic episode in broad daylight, and I'm not psychotic. So then something starts tapping me on my third eye, firmly like this, not to hurt me. It's tapping me right here. I don't have a roommate. I'm by myself. Something is tapping me on the third eye. So I said, yo, I'm going to sleep, because whatever this shit is, I don't know about this. I was never taught about this in the masjid. I never heard about this at the church. When grandma took me to the Jehovah Witness hall, I never picked it up there either. Okay, when my other uncle was teaching me about the God and earth science, he ain't never talked about this either. So I'm like, I ain't hear about this with the God and earths. I ain't hear about this with the Jehovah Witness. I ain't hear about this with the Muslims. What the hell is... So I try to go to sleep. And I was not allowed to go to sleep. When I laid down, I felt two hands push me, not to hurt me, but to push me hard enough so I would wake up. So I would roll over to the other side of the bed and act like that shit didn't just happen. So guess what? Those same two hands came to the other side of the bed and pushed me again. Boom! In other words, you're not sleeping. We don't want you to sleep. We've been waiting for you to come home for 30 years. Okay? And this information we need to download into you because you one of the chosen ones. It might sound arrogant, but I'm just going to tell you what I feel and what I felt. It might sound arrogant, but I'm just going to tell you what I feel and what I felt that last week of July 2005, Goree Island. And the whole night I'm getting taps. The whole night I'm getting pushed. I come out that room the next day, people looking at me like, yo, what? I said, yo, something was in my room with me yesterday. The brother says he's a Muslim, right? He don't do spiritual Africans. He's an African Muslim, but he don't do spirit. I said, something was in that room. He said, no, it's not. Because I had gotten stung by the mosquitoes earlier, right? So I had a little case of the malaria. But I had already had the malaria. This wasn't no damn malaria. I said, listen, dude, I was wide awake. That wasn't no damn malaria, okay? So I walks up. I'm asking everybody in synagogue because I need some help. I need somebody to interpret what the hell just happened, okay? I'm not going to go to the Muslims or the Christians because they're going to say it was the demons. And I know it wasn't a demon because although I was scared, the energy was not negative. It was not negative. The energy was not negative. It commanded my attention, but it wasn't negative. So I'm walking up the street in the car and I asked one of the young brothers and he says, Doc, that happens a lot when y'all come home. He said, all that is, that's the ancestors. They so happy you came that they just basically embraced you, and because you're not used to it, it's scaring you to death. And he said you probably had an ancestor who passed through Gori because your experience was so intense that one of your ancestors probably passed through Gori. So anyway, I get back to the United States, right? I lost weight and everything because I was spooked out. I had to fly back to Nigeria for one night, and then I had to fly back to Ethiopia. I tried to leave 2 days early because I said, I ain't feeling right. I need to go home. I'm in line at the Ethiopian airport, okay, Addis Ababa, and they come and take my ticket and give it to a white man. They come and take my ticket and give it to a white man, even though I said I wasn't feeling well and I needed to go home. I was already dealing with some malaria, and then I got jumped by my ancestors. I need to go home and give my mom a hug. I got to go. They come and get my ticket, which forced me to stay in Ethiopia for 2 more nights. I came into Africa through Ethiopia. I left out of Africa through Ethiopia. So now I get back to Philadelphia. I done met with the Garveyites, had a great time. I went to Shaka Zulu's gravesite. I met Nnamdi Azikiwe's son in Nigeria. He gave me a plaque with his father's face on it. Nnamdi Azikiwe is the equivalent of Kwame Nkrumah and Marcus Garvey in Nigeria. I met his son. His son took me outside and we went to his father's grave and he offered a prayer on my behalf to his father and to his family ancestors, the Igbo nation. And the whole time I'm in Nigeria, all the queen mothers is coming up to me telling me, you are Igbo. You are one of us. We know us when we see you. You are us. So I get back home and I get a phone call. Some of my elders say, there's a brother selling African slavery artifacts in West Philly. He got some slave chains. Do you want to buy the chains? So I go to West Philly to get these chains, right? I buy the chains. I get back home to North Philly. I'm not in Africa no more. I'm in North Philly. I've been back a couple days. I take these chains upstairs to my bedroom. And I say, I'm going to put these chains underneath my TV stand. My TV stand is going to serve as an altar. I sit on my bed like I'm sitting now. I put the chains under the television stand. It's broad daylight. It's a nice, hot, sunny day. It's still summertime, right? Because I got back August the 2nd, August the 1st. After I put them slave chains, guess what happened to me? In Philadelphia, I just got back from Africa. Remember I told you I got 3 taps on my third eye? Something kept tapping me all night in Gori in the hotel room. Would you believe the same 3 taps? God is my witness. Almighty God is my witness. The same 3 taps that tapped me all night long, intermittently at the hotel in Dakar, Senegal, the same night I came from Gori, tapped me 3 times on my head when I sat on my bed and put them chains under there. I said, guess what? I know for sure now. It's the ancestors. When I finally got my first spiritual reading from the Oyotunji African village in South Carolina, Chief Olaitan said, they came back with you. They came back with you. But you know what I feel, brothers and sisters? I'm going to tell y'all the truth. I'm going to tell y'all the truth. I believe that night in that hotel room, you know, in African spirituality, we get initiated to be priests, right? We get initiated to be priests of the ancestors. Okay. I believe my ancestors, our ancestors, I believe that our ancestors initiated me that night. I believe with all my soul, as I'm sitting here talking to y'all in Japan, I believe my ancestors initiated me into the ancestral system that night. And I'm going to tell you why I say that. I never received clairvoyant dreams in my life. I never received clairvoyant dreams in my life. When I came back from that Africa trip, I started having dreams all the time that were prophetic. I would dream that something would happen to somebody I know, and they would call me soon when I wake up and say it happened. They start coming so frequently that I was able to call people, say, yo, you about to get into a fight today. If you get into the fight, you're going to end up killing him. Walk away. People would be like, yo, that almost happened. And then coincidences started happening. I would think of somebody I ain't seen in 5 years, and I'll see them the next day. My phone would ring. I would know who. I was firing. Let me give y'all an example. Birth of a Nation, Nat Turner. Y'all know that I was born on that day, August the 21st. And then I'm going to get on. I'm going to get off of this and move on. I go to the movie to see Birth of a Nation. And when did I see Birth of a Nation? When did Birth of a Nation came out while I was in South Africa this past October? Y'all remember that? Okay. So I couldn't wait to get back to America to see Birth of a Nation. So soon when I got back to America from South Africa, I went straight to the movies to see Birth of a Nation. And I'm looking at the opening scene of the movie, and y'all all know the opening scene. There's a priest giving baby Nat Turner a reading. There's a priest giving baby Nat Turner a reading. Guess who the priest is? Chief Olaitan. The same person who gave me my first spiritual reading gave Nat Turner his first spiritual reading. And it just so happens that the Nat Turner War and Umar Johnson were birthed on the same day, August the 21st. Is that a coincidence? Is that a coincidence? These things just be happening, and I'll be like, whoa. So anyway, let me move on. That's what happened. I get back. I quit the UNIA. I quit. Because although I love the elders and I learned a lot from the elders, I felt they were holding me back. They were not allowing me to lead. I wanted to rebuild the Garvey movement, and all they did was fight me. I felt that they loved me, but I also felt that they had some jealousy, because you got a man in here with 4 degrees at the time. He's a school psychologist. He's well educated, excellent orator, and he's just as dedicated to African redemption as we are. I think it scared him. In fact, I was told by one of the elders who's still living today, he said, you're going to have to leave this organization, brother. They're not going to let you rise. They're threatened by you. You bring too much to the table. They never had nobody like you. And I'm not saying this to be disrespectful. They all deceased now, and I wish them all well. I wish them all well. You understand me? So anyway, that was going down. That was 2005. And then I quit the school district. I resigned from the school district. My colleagues thought I was crazy. They said you are the youngest of only 5 black male school psychologists in the 5th largest school district in America. We make the same amount of money that the principals make, and you only do half the work. We make the same amount of money that principals make, and all we have to do is evaluate children, and you're going to give up a job like this? Summers off, full benefits? You gay. People thought I was crazy. I quit the UNIA. I quit the school district. I just felt it was time for a rebirth. I felt it was time for a rebirth. I became vice president for a while at a charter school, vice principal. I quit that. I started working for the charter schools as a school psychologist. So then we come up to 2010. 5 years later, I hear about an online news organ called Black News. You could write articles, submit it to Black News, and Black News will share your articles. So I said, I like to write. I've written articles for the Garvey's Voice. Let me try writing some articles for Black News. So I write 2 articles on special education and ADHD. I get a phone call in September of 2010 by a brother named Dawa Yisrael out of Chicago. Shout out to Brother Dawa. Some of y'all know him. Brother Dawa calls me, say, hey, yo, this Brother Dawa, I'm calling you from Chicago. Somebody sent me an article that you wrote. They published it in the Chicago Tribune or something like that. And I have a public access television show. I have a show on Chicago TV. Would you be interested in coming to be interviewed by me? He said, I can't afford to pay you. I can't pay you no honorarium. And I can't buy you no ticket. And I can't pay you no hotel or none of that. Right? So I said, sure, I'm coming. Chicago, 2nd largest city, I'm coming. So I booked my flight. I go to Chicago. Dawa does the interview. I asked Dawa if I could have a copy of the DVD. I said, would it be possible to have a copy of the DVD? Dawa says, sure. I should be able to get another one. So I get a phone call from Sinetta. I get a phone call from Sinetta, New York. Sinetta says, yo, because I had did a couple lectures at Black and Nobel, all between us. Between leaving the UNIA in 2010, I did a couple lectures at Black and Nobel bookstore. Shout out to them. And I did a lecture series at the African American Museum of Philadelphia. After the UNIA, because a lot of people like to take credit for me. I'm going to tell you who can take credit. Three entities outside of God and my parents. Outside of God and the ancestors and my parents, okay? There's 3 entities who could take credit for me. The first one is the Garvey movement, the Universal Negro Improvement Association, and African Communities League. Because had them elders never made me stand up to speak, I would have never been discovered by others. That's number 1. Number 2, who can take credit for me? The African American Museum of Philadelphia. The African American Museum of Philadelphia. Remember I said in 2004, we had the Marcus Garvey exoneration program with Julius Garvey and Malefi Asante? Well, guess what? I was approached by one of the directors of the African American Museum that night before I went to Africa. And she said, you can speak. We need to bring you back. I said, guess what I will do for you? I will do a free lecture series here. Free. Once a month, I would like to come to the African American Museum of Philadelphia and do a lecture. She said, no problem. And so from 2004 until 2008, 4 years, for 4 years, the African American Museum of Philadelphia was home to Dr. Umar Johnson's once a month lectures. If you've ever seen my post-traumatic slavery disorders, they come from there. Many of my classic DVDs that y'all have come to love were done at the African American Museum of Philadelphia. They gave me the platform to expose my information and my talents to the world. So beyond my parents and the ancestors and God, the Universal Negro Improvement Association, the African American Museum of Philadelphia. And the third, and I'm going to say this reluctantly, but I'm going to give them their credit. I'm going to say this reluctantly, but I'm going to give them their credit, and that's the Breakfast Club. I'm going to give Charlemagne, and I'm going to give Envy, and I'm going to give Angela Yee their props, because those two Breakfast Club interviews, which I've been told by many people, were the greatest political interviews in Breakfast Club history, excluding nobody. No disrespect, but I've been told by elders, academics, they say your part one and your part two, no other interview they did with anybody, young or old, compares to your interviews. And I think the strength of those interviews, the strength of the Breakfast Club interviews, really forced me into a lot of people's lives who previously didn't know about me. Now, a lot of people take credit for me. I've been on documentaries. They'll try to take credit. Nah. Okay. If anything, the benefit was mutual, but you damn sure didn't make me. Okay. I was already made. I was made in Goree Island in July in 2005. Let me say that shit again. I was made in that female slave dungeon in Goree Island 2005. But be that as it may, from the UNIA to the African American Museum and most recently the Breakfast Club interviews, I would say that those three propelled me. Okay. I don't have a problem giving Brother Dawa a shout for that Chicago interview, because that Chicago interview was major. I will give Sonetta props for saying you need to come and do a lecture in Harlem. I'll give him his props for that. Okay. I'll give him his props for that. But he didn't make me. Okay. So anyway, Sonetta gives me a phone call. We coming up to Modern. Now shit gonna get a little controversial. But I'm going to try to speak slowly so nobody gets offended, because this ain't about that. This is not a beef video. This is y'all learning who y'all dealing with here, because y'all need to know who y'all dealing with. Sonetta calls me. I'll never forget when Sonetta called me either. I was riding up Girard Avenue. I had just passed the Philadelphia Zoo. I had just did a lecture with me and Professor Griff at Black and Nobel. Me and Professor Griff had just did Intellectual Insurrection, I think a couple weeks ago. Okay. So my phone rang, and it's a New York number. I pick it up. I say, yeah, this is Umar Johnson. I wasn't doctor yet. He said, yeah, this is the brother Sonetta. How you doing? And I'm not making no mockery. You know, that's Sonetta's voice. This is the brother Sonetta. You know what I mean? How you doing, my brother? I said, peace and love. What can I do? He said, yo, my man A.A. Rashid. Shout out to A.A. Rashid. Shout out to A.A. because A.A. Rashid is one of the few people who knew me early on. He's one of the few people who knew me early on who, from what I know, I don't know what he do when he ain't in my face. I don't know. But from what I know, A.A. Rashid is one of the few brothers in the conscious community who has always kept it real with me. So shout out to A.A. So I met A.A. before because we would be in Black and Nobel. We would also be in Merchants of Akibalan. I knew A.A. I didn't know he was a scholar though. You understand? But I knew the brother. I remember we had conversations. So Sonetta says the brother A.A. Rashid was in New York and he was bringing me some DVDs. You know, we exchanged DVDs. And he pulled out this one DVD and it was you. This is Sonetta. He said it was you at Black and Nobel speaking. And you was going off the top. You ain't have no PowerPoint. You ain't have no notes. You ain't have no car. You was just dropping shit we never heard about before. And Sonetta said, and I was like, who the fuck is this? He said, brother, I would like to invite you to New York City to speak. I said, I ain't got no problem with that. We can make it happen. He said, there's another brother, and I'm not going to mention his name, okay, out of respect. There's a brother who has a program he runs at the National Black Theater. And so what we can do is approach him and ask him if you can use one of his nights to come and do a lecture. I told Sonetta, I said, you can do that. I ain't got no problem with that. But I do want to let you know that me and that brother got a history from Philadelphia that ain't too positive. I said, we ain't clashed in years. We ain't clashed. It's been a while. but we do have a little bit of a history, so I don't know if that's going to roll. But he said, let's just give it a shot. Cool. So Sarnetta was telling me he was trying to reach the brother. He couldn't get him. Da-da-da-da-da. I ran into the brother at Malcolm X Park at the African Independence Day celebration in West Philly. I said, bruh, Sarnetta said he been trying to get at you. He want me to come do a lecture at the National Black Theater. You have a class there. I'm willing to pay you, to use your space. He said, no problem. I said, it's straight. He said, it's straight. So we set the date. It was sometime in early October or September, October. Dawa was September 18th. The lecture at the National Black Theater Harlem was like late September. So one day I get a phone call. It's the brother. He said, I'm canceling your event. And I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember people's exact words. He said, I'm canceling your event. I said, what's up? He said, you and Sarnetta was supposed to pay me a certain amount of money. Okay? And if the brother listening, this ain't no attack on you, bruh. I'm just giving the people my history. Okay? I will never tell them who you is and none of that because it don't matter no more. That's old. Okay? We ain't had no beef. We don't need no beef. Okay? And hopefully you don't perceive this to be disrespectful. Because if you bark, I'm going to bark back. Okay? So it ain't no beef. So he said, I'm canceling it because y'all was supposed to pay me. And y'all didn't pay me. Okay? I said, I thought I was going to give you the money once I saw you that night. He said, nah. That's not what I told Sarnetta. I told him I was supposed to get my money up front. I said, well, I'll tell you what, bruh. I'll bring you the money. Because you in Philly, I'm in Philly. I think he was in Philly. I'll bring you the money, or I could PayPal you, or, I could PayPal you. He's like, no, I can't do it. It's over. Sarnetta calls me before I could call him. He's like, yo, I think Sarnetta called me or I called him. And he said, yo, it's off. No, I called him. I said, yo, the brother called me and said, I can't do the lecture. Sarnetta was like, what? I said, I told you that wasn't the route to go anyway. You know what I mean? And I wasn't being disrespectful. But what I said was, there's a lot of people in Philadelphia who knew my talents and my capabilities. And I'm not talking about that brother right now. There's other people in Philadelphia, elders and youth. Okay? This ain't about him. Who knew my talent, but they would never expose it to nobody outside of Philly. Now, I'm going to be a little arrogant for a second and to say that I knew I had something special. And I knew once the world experienced me, it will never be the same. I'm going to just be honest with y'all. That might sound arrogant, y'all, but I knew that once I got a chance for the world to hear me, it was over. Okay? I didn't necessarily expect to bum rush the conscious community the way that I did when I kicked the door in 2010. Okay? I didn't expect it to come like that. I wasn't prepared, and I'm about to talk about that. I wasn't prepared, and I'm about to talk about that. But I wasn't surprised. So Sarnetta said, contact the brother who runs the National Black Theater. Okay? No. Let me back up. I think I said I'm going to contact the brother who runs. I said I'm going to do this myself. I can pay my own way, okay? I'm not broke. I can pay. So I contacted the brother from the National Black Theater, and I drove to New York City, and I paid him. Okay? I said, listen, I want to do a lecture here. Sarnetta said it might be a good idea to do a lecture here. Okay? I paid him the money. I think it was like $1,000 or something like that. Drove back to Philly. I drove back for the lecture. Now, the Dawa interview was September 18th. It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. Both Dawa interviews. I did 2 follow-ups, but it was the first one. September 18th, 2010. The National Black Theater Harlem lecture. The National Black Theater Harlem lecture was Halloween night. It was either the night before Halloween, but I'm pretty sure it was Halloween night. I drove to Philadelphia with my brother Claude, who's an Omega Psi Phi from Millersville. I said, Claude, I'm doing a New York lecture. Claude said, oh man, I got to come and catch this on tape. So we drove up there, separate cars, but we drove up there. Some of my Philly people drove up because I said, hey, y'all, I'm about to kick in the door to New York. They said, oh, man, Doc, once they hear you, it's over. So Sinetta brought his camera, as he does. Okay, he filmed it. And that lecture was called Post-Traumatic Slavery Disease Part 4, The Miseducation of the 21st Century Negro. If y'all ever get that DVD, Post-Traumatic Slavery Disorder Part 4, 21st Century Miseducation of the Negro, that double DVD, because I went in that night. I went in that night. I said, this is me in New York. This is like Marcus Garvey coming to New York for the first time. This is like Frederick Douglass coming to New York for the first time. So I got there. Sinetta was there. Sinetta introduced me. There's a brother from Philly. Okay, I got up there. Let me tell you what I did, though. Shout out to my brother Mark. I took all the lectures from the African American Museum of Philadelphia. I took all the lectures from the African American Museum of Philadelphia, and I made copies. Shout out to Mark. He made me like 25 of each lecture. And the most important lecture was what? You guessed it, the Chicago interview with Dawa. Shout out to Dawa, because if Dawa never gave me that DVD, I would have still popped, but I don't know if I would have necessarily popped right then, because that was the DVD that everybody wanted. So I had all the DVDs after the lecture. We had a nice crowd. About 300 people came out. They wanted to hear this new guy from Philly, this Garveyite, this so-called school psychologist. And I'll never forget one of the elders. Let me tell you what I remember the most about that night. Because it was a regular night. It was a good lecture, but I did lectures before. The only thing different, it was for Harlem. So it was significant for me, but it was a regular lecture. I didn't think nothing of it. I went back home. But let me tell you, an elder came up to me. I'll never forget it. You don't forget these things. An elder walked up to me that night in the National Black Theater. He said, let me tell you something, son. He said, I've heard all of the great ones. I've heard them all. And you are the best I've ever heard live. When that elder told me that shit, I'm standing in Harlem and I just dropped my first public lecture because I had spoken for the youth. That elder said, I've heard them all. He didn't say no names, but he said, I listened to all the greats. And what you just did tonight, I ain't never seen nobody bring a message like that. I drive back to Philly, sold all my DVD. I gave Sinetta a copy of every DVD. No hate. I'm not attacking him. I ain't looking for trouble. I'm giving y'all history because y'all need to know this. Tomorrow not promised. Y'all need to know. I gave Sinetta a copy of every DVD. I had about 15 to 20 DVDs. I said, brother, you told me I should come here tonight. I appreciate you for putting that idea in my head. I gave Sinetta a copy of every DVD. On top of that, Sinetta taped that DVD. Why am I bringing this up? Because and me and Sinetta not at war right now, from what I understand. Okay. But you know, he attacks me once or twice a year. That's just the way shit is. It is what it is. But I'm saying that because when Sinetta says, and I'm not attacking you, Sinetta, I'm just giving, when Sinetta says he made me, one of the things that bothers me about that, on top of the fact that you didn't pay for this education, you didn't deal with the white supremacists, you didn't bring me through the UNIA. You didn't set up the African American Museum lecture. You didn't fly me around the country to be. It bothers me because this brother has sold a lot of my DVDs. And to my knowledge, I'm going to say to my knowledge, nobody knows but him, but I could do the research and find out. To my knowledge, although my brother Sinetta has sold so many of my DVDs back then. I don't think he sells them anymore, but back then they was flipping. Everybody I knew in New York had a DVD of mine from Sinetta. But to say you made me and you never donated to the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy, although you've been selling all my material, that bothers me a little bit. No hate. This is in the past. It's in the past. I'm just giving the people my story. It bothers me a little bit for someone to say they made you when they made a lot of money off your name and did not donate to my fundraiser. So, I get back to Philadelphia after my Halloween night Harlem debut. I get back to Philadelphia after my 2010 Halloween night National Black Theater Harlem debut. Then within 24 hours, my telephone starts going crazy. Within 24 hours, my telephone, I'm looking at my cell phone, right? Let's say it's the cell phone. It's my cologne, but my cell phone. And I'm seeing 917-404-302-601. I'm getting international calls from West Africa, Australia, Jamaica, Cuba, Birmingham, Canada. 24 hours ago, I was Pennsylvania Pan-Africanist. 24 hours later, literally overnight, I was International Ifatunde. Brothers and sisters, I start getting requests for radio interviews. I lie to you not. 2011. So people marinated on the DVDs from the Halloween night Harlem debut. They marinated on the DVDs from the Halloween night Harlem debut all the way up into the new year, right? But I'm telling you, when 2011 kicked, even right after that, because it was instantaneous, my rise was it was like God held me back all them years and then just suddenly threw me out front. That's what I really feel. I feel like God held me back all them years and then suddenly, threw me out front, And I was doing 3 radio interviews a day. I did one interview. I fell asleep on the phone because I wasn't turning no interviews down. I said, I got a message involving our children, not just the Pan-Africanism, but the miseducation, not just the Pan-Africanism, but the special ed, not just the Pan-Africanism, but the learning disabilities, not just the Pan-Africanism, but the reading disabilities. I had a message that I knew black parents needed. And when I looked around the conscious community, nobody was coming with that expertise. When I looked around the conscious community, nobody was coming with that hardcore Garvey. You had RBG, but you ain't had nobody who grew up in the Garvey movement who could tell you from the inside. And then on top of that, I'm sharing the blood of Frederick Douglass. On top of that, I'm sharing the blood of Frederick Douglass. Because I am not a descendant of Frederick Douglass. I am akin to Frederick Douglass. We come from the same set of 4 parents, Isaac and Betsy Bailey. Facts. So I'm doing all these radio interviews. I'm falling asleep. My mom is like, you need to get some rest, boy. Every time I turn around, you on a radio interview. I'm just like, I call my mom because we was raised Muslim. You call your mom so I still call my mom All my other siblings call her mom, but I'm still right? So I'm like, It's my time. I'm doing every interview. It's my time right now. So I was like, and then the YouTube start popping. I didn't even know what YouTube was. In October of 2010. Next thing you know, people are like, yo, you need to go to YouTube. Your videos is all over YouTube. I said, I ain't got no channel. They said, well, you ain't got no channel, but you better go up there. So even today, I have more YouTube videos. This is not bragging. I'm giving history. I have more YouTube videos than any scholar alive. And I don't have a channel. Do you know what that means? I'm going to say it again. I have more YouTube videos than any conscious or mainstream scholar you can name right now. And I don't have a YouTube channel. Do you know what that means? They all have channels. I don't have a YouTube channel. I never had one. Do you know what that means? That means our people love and respect Dr. Umar Johnson so much That means our people love and respect what I stand for. It don't mean they agree with everything I do. It don't mean they like everything I say. It don't mean that they not angry when, certain situations arise that I should have handled. It don't mean that. But they love me enough to post and repost and share and reshare, and to the point as I sit here talking to you from Japan. Okay? And if I'm not mistaken, I think I'm the first Pan-Africanist. Okay? Since Malcolm or maybe Garvey, who's been invited to speak in Asia. I don't know. Research got to be done. But this trip here, I think I'm the first to be invited to this continent to talk Pan-Africanism. I don't know, but I think I am. Okay? But be that as it may. Okay? And I just had an ADHD moment just that quickly, y'all. What was I just saying? I just had an ADHD moment. What was I just saying? Oh, yes, the YouTube. Okay? That's unprecedented. I never heard of a scholar who got more YouTube videos than all the rest, when all the rest promote themselves constantly on their own channels. And I'm not against it. I'm not against that. Nothing wrong with it. I might start a channel in the future so I can make some of that YouTube money to pay for some of my projects. So I'm not against that. But my point that I'm making is I think 90% of all scholars have their own YouTube. I don't have a YouTube, and I got more videos than them. So what does that tell you? What does that tell you? I'm just giving it to you. I got to tell y'all my story. You know why I'm telling y'all my story tonight from Nagoya, Japan? Because all my life I've been a voluntary loner. I'm just being real with y'all. I love being by myself. Some of y'all know this because y'all see me. Y'all like, why you by yourself, Doc? Why you by yourself, Doc? You travel by yourself, Doc? You ain't got no travel mate, Doc? I've been that way my whole life. High school, I stayed to myself. College, I stayed to myself. UNIA, I've always been a very private person, which is one of the reasons why a lot of queens don't get far with me. I'm just telling it straight tonight. Can I be honest tonight? Can I just tell it? Can I just tell it? Okay? There's women I've met who could have been Mrs. Papa. There's women I know now who might be Mrs. Papa. But a lot of real good women couldn't become that because they talk too damn much. I don't like my business in the street. And the minute you decide that you have a right to share our personal moments with your best friend, your cousin, your mama, your sister, your ass is cut. And why? Because I'm political. And if I can't trust you to keep my personal business to yourself, how the hell I'm going to trust you at war? If you can't keep your damn mouth shut about stuff that's personal, how I'm going to trust you to keep your mouth shut about political stuff? A lot of women think Dr. Umar just got like this in 2010. Go talk to some of my high school friends. Talk to some of my college friends. They'll tell you that man never told us any woman he dated on this campus. We found out from her. Girls in high school will tell you, he never told us who he dated. We found out from her. That's the way I am. I ain't got time for no thirsty, attention-seeking female who want to let other women know that I know him on a level you don't. Because the minute you let them know that, your ass is cut. Facts. Now, getting back to it. Where was I at again? I'm being so real tonight, I'm forgetting my place. Where was I at? Okay, so we had YouTube, right? So there's another lecturer. I'm not throwing shade. I'm just telling my story. Okay? And I'm going to ask you not to make no negative comments because this is real straight here. This ain't got no motive. This ain't got no hate. You know what I mean? If I mention somebody's name, it's purely out of clarification. Ain't no hate being thrown. I'm not going to hate on nobody here. Okay? So all y'all popping shit. Well, it's only a few of y'all. I'm going to just block you. So let me do this right now. Goodbye to you. Anybody else? Everybody been pretty good tonight. Even the haters, y'all listening to this. I respect y'all haters who normally hate to give me this time. Because normally, you know how y'all be. You know. So anyhow. So 2010 hit, right? 2011 coming. I'm the new guy. Umar, you got it. And I'm kicking in a door. They inviting me all over the place. Come here. I'm speaking 4 or 5 times a week. Kwanzaa every night. 3 lectures a day. Boom, 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 boom. And needless to say, as the notorious B.I.G. would say, he said more money, more problems. I say more success, more problems. Why am I saying more success, more problems? Because when I first hit the conscious international scene in 2010, I did not charge for lectures. Some of y'all know that. I did not charge for lectures. Anybody remember me in 2010? Anybody remember me in 2011? Anybody remember me in 2012? Did I ever charge y'all? Nope. You want me to come to Atlanta? Get my tickets and hotel. You want me to come to California? Get my tickets and hotel. You want me to come to Dallas? You want me to come to Fort Worth? You want me to come to Virginia? Get my tickets and I didn't charge because I love what I do. This is from the heart. I never hustled. Okay? I never hustled. Y'all feel me? From 2000 when I got my master's to 2010, I never charged. Ask the UNIA. They offered to pay me and I wouldn't take it. You don't believe me? When I did that conference with Renoko and Tony Martin, and they offered to pay me, the President General brought me a check. I said, I don't think I'm going to take this, President General. And you know what he said? Rest in peace, Redmond Battle. He said, I said, what you going to do? He said, I'm not taking it. And I said, I'm not taking it either. We gave it back. I don't do this shit for no damn money. And that's why hustlers don't understand me, because my heart ain't your heart. My heart ain't your heart. I didn't start charging until about 13. And I had to. Why did Dr. Umar start charging in 2013, 2012? I started out $500 and then I went to $1,000 and then I went to 15. And you know why? Because as a school psychologist, in 2010, I had about 7 schools I was responsible for in 2010. I had 7 charter schools. I had to do all their work. I made good money. I didn't even have my doctorate yet. Didn't even need it. But when y'all kept calling me to come speak, I had to make a decision. When y'all kept calling me to come speak, I had to make a decision. And that decision was, you got to cut back on the traveling so you can make this money, or you're going to have to start charging to supplement the money that you've given up. I made a sacrifice. I don't make what I made working for the school district of Philadelphia. I could go back tomorrow if I wanted to. But I believe that this work, I was born for it. I'm just going to be real. That August 21st, being born on that turn of day, ain't no coincidence. I was born for this. So I decided to sacrifice the money that was being made professionally so I could teach my people. And the reason I had to take my honorarium up, and I would still argue it's significantly low. In fact, I had a university contact me about a month or two ago to invite me this fall. You know what they said? I told them my honorarium. You know what they said? They said, oh, you must be kidding. They said, Umar, you have a doctorate degree. You have 6 degrees. You're probably the best black orator on the planet. You should be charging 2 and 3 times that much. And then they start naming up. Do you know so-and-so make this? Do you know Cornell? Do you know Michael Eric? Do you know? Listen, I don't care what they make. I'll never want to be in a position where people say we needed him this day and he couldn't be here because we couldn't afford him. I can't live with that. Okay? I can't. No, I'm going to make it within striking distance. And you know why else I had to start charging? Because y'all was taking advantage of me. Let me tell you what they was doing. I had to learn the hard way. Because see, when I came into the conscious community, I thought everybody was in it to help black people. I didn't know we had hustlers. I'm being honest now. I thought everybody was in this to help black people. I didn't know people was in this shit to get paid. So let me tell you what happened to me 3 times. I was told I was invited to come and speak. They said they couldn't afford no honorarium. No problem. Hotel, flight. They sold out. I let them charge to raise money for this event. This happened like 3 times. Actually, more than that. And don't you know, they would take the money they made from a free Umar lecture. They would take the money they made from a free Dr. Umar lecture, and they would pay a hotepper to come in. How the hell you gonna take money you made on my name? I sold that venue out. I packed you out. You didn't volunteer to give me a penny. I got 2 daughters. I ain't rich. I got a mother. She ain't rich. I got 10 brothers and sisters. They ain't rich. I got nieces and nephews. You didn't even offer to give me a little offering, and you would take these thousands of dollars that I raised for you for free, and you would go pay a hotepper a couple $1,000s on Umar money, and you ain't offer me shit. And when that happened a couple times, I said, we got to stop this. We got to stop this. And you know what I'm going to do right now? I'm going to clarify, because people want to know. And he might even want to know. I think he know. But let me go back to the Sinetta piece. Clarity, brother. This is only clarity. My phone about to die. Let me plug in. How long we been live? I don't even know how long we been live. I'm going to go back to the Sinetta piece only because it constantly comes up. To Brother Sinetta and to everyone. And this is for clarity, not disrespect. This is for clarity, not disrespect. In 2012, I think it was, in 2012, I was contacted by Sinetta. Him and King Simon and whoever else wanted to do a gathering of the young masters. Some of y'all were there, right? For the first time, it was Polite, Brother Seti, and Dr. Umar Johnson. They called it the Young Phenom. That was Polite. Seti was the Young General. And I was the Young Doctor. It was 2012 because I earned my doctorate in 2012. So I had just got my doctorate. So Sinetta said we want to do all 3 of y'all. Boom, 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 boom. No problem. I said, listen, y'all have to guarantee me. I believe I said 90 minutes to 2 hours of speaking time at that National Black Theater. Y'all have to guarantee me 90 minutes to 2 hours of public speaking time at the National Black Theater, because in order for me to come, I have to take an early flight from Indianapolis, Indiana to get there, Philadelphia International Airport, and then I got to drive all the way up to New York. I got to drive all the way up to New York. Okay? So I said, you and King Simon need to guarantee me my 90 minutes to 2 hours. I said, that means if the other brothers start going long, I got to go last. I got to go last because I'm coming in late. I'm flying, and then I got to drive. 2-hour flight, 2-hour drive. He promised me I would get my 90 minutes to 2 hours. And then I said, I don't know what that money looking like, but y'all need to pay me a respectable wage for my lecture. I see what y'all going to be charging. I know y'all charge more at the door. I know y'all got to pay fees. I'm not giving you no number, brother, but give me a respectable donation. I have a huge following. I'm the hottest ticket. No disrespect to them, but I'm the hottest ticket. Be respectful and pay me what I'm due. He said, no problem. I get to the National Black Theater. Brother Polite is on stage. I was informed that Brother Seti spoke first and Seti left. Okay? That's what I was told. I didn't get a chance to see him. I never met Seti until Malik Zulu Shabazz had the Million Man March rally a couple of years ago. Okay? The Million Man March rally a couple years ago. And I remember that because at the rally, Tariq Nasheed called me while I was parking and asked me if I would be willing to be in Hidden Colors Part 3 because I would be in Los Angeles the following week, and he wanted to interview me for Hidden Colors Part 3 the following week. So me and Seti shook hands at that Million Man March thing that Zulu had outside of the New York building. Y'all know what I'm talking about. We all spoke. But let me get back to where I was at. December 2012. I believe that's the year. It was either 11 or 12. I think it was 12. I don't see Sarnetta because he's taping. I think he's on the tapes. I see King Simon. I said, yo, what time we got to be out of the National Black Theater? And this is no disrespect to King Simon, but this is why I don't mess with either one of them. Now, maybe the future might hold something better, okay? But it ain't going to hold shit better. You keep bringing haters on that damn couch talking shit under their breath about me. I'm tired of that. But nonetheless, I say, King Simon, when am I going to get my time? Okay, let me get rid of this clown. Okay. I'm not am I attacking anybody? Do y'all feel like I'm attacking anybody? Talk to me right now. Because we got a couple people in their feelings. Am I attacking anybody right now? Does this feel like attackism? I already blocked him. I just blocked KD. King Dickhead. Excuse my French. KD. King Dickhead. But anyway, does this sound like I'm attacking? Thank you. If y'all feel like I'm attacking, say that. Because this ain't meant to be that. This ain't meant to be that. But I went to King Simon and I said, how long is Polite going to be talking? Because y'all promised me 90 minutes to 2 hours. I forgot what time we had to be out of the National Black Theater. I forget that. But I knew he was going real long. He was going long, and King Simon didn't want to do shit to get his ass off the stage. Right? I said, yo, I made a whole presentation. And some of y'all remember the presentation, right? The presentation was what? Introduction to Military Science, right? The 33 Laws of Black Power, the Black Power Handbook, the White Supremacy Handbook. Do y'all remember that? Y'all remember that, right? Because it's still one of the most popular DVDs in the conscious community. I made that presentation just for that lecture. I flew back, drove 2 hours, rushed through traffic to get there. And then when I get there, I was given a time I would be going on. They gave me a time before I got, and when I got there, Polite still on stage talking. I'm getting upset. I was with Sean and LaRon at the time, who I met for the first time at the Harlem Halloween night debut 2010. So we 2 years later, same place, 2 years later. For them 2 years, I was working with Sarnetta. We did a couple little joints. We did the Malcolm X joint interviews. We did a couple little joints. So anyway, King Simon is giving me the cold show. Like, I could feel that Polite is his man. And it's basically what I felt. If I'm wrong, if that ain't your intention, brother, that's okay. But I'm giving my story. What I felt was basically Polite was King Simon's man. And fuck you, because we basically only needed you to sell the tickets. The tickets is sold. So whether you get your time or not, don't matter. That's what I felt. He didn't say that. No one. That's what I felt. Because I'm sitting there, rushed to get here. He's still on the stage, over his time, and ain't nobody doing shit about it. So I go to Sarnetta, I go to King Simon, I go to Sarnetta, I go to King Simon. No, I'm not upset. This is old. I'm just giving y'all the story. Because people want to know things. Why him and Sarnetta keep going at it. This is it. So I get up there. They finally get up there, right? I get up there to do my speech. And guess what? Polite has all of his merchandise, his New Covenant merchandise, on the stage. So I'm looking, and all his homies is on the stage. One of them eyes screwing me, the other one, I'm like, I hope this stays civil. Because I'm feeling the disrespect. And they didn't want to tell him to move his shit. Right? I ain't never see a lecturer come to do a lecture and another lecturer got all his merchandise on the fucking stage. It was disrespectful. But anyway, I told them don't worry about that. Leave his merchandise up there. But he got to go. They give me the microphone to start my lecture. And this ain't no attack on Polite either. I'm just giving my story. Okay? They give me the microphone to do my lecture at the gathering of the Young Masters, National Black Theater 2010, and Polite is walking back and forth on the fucking stage. And I'm calling Sonetta and Simon like, yo, why is your man walking back and forth on my stage? So I'm starting to get a little hype. One of the brothers pulled me to the side. He said, Doc, I see what they doing. Somebody said this. I see what they doing. If I would have got to you sooner, I would have told you, don't even do this with them. Because you ain't with that shit they into. This is what people told. You wasn't supposed to be there. That ain't your set. That's not your set. Okay? But they had their man. Then respect the Sonetta. Respect the Sonetta. Respect the Sonetta. Sonetta finally told Polite, listen, dude, it's Umar's time, man. Get off the stage. And Sonetta finally did say that. King Simon ain't say shit. But Sonetta finally did get Polite off the stage. So I do my lecture. I'm into it. Everybody loving it. The laws, white supremacy, military, boom, boom, boom. One of them come up to me, Sonetta, King Simon, and say, we have to be out the building in 45 minutes. So I say to myself, whoa, 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 what? I look at Sean, I look at Laurent. They like, Doc, they said they got to be out. I beg your pardon? I took an early ass flight. An early ass flight from Indiana. Drove 2 hours to Rush. Stood around. I was in the National Black Theater for about 90 minutes before they decided to get his ass off the stage. He burning my time up. Y'all let him burn my time up. I specifically asked King Simon, am I going to get my full time after you get your man off the stage? Because if I'm not, you're cheating me out my time, brother. I told he already been up there 3 hours. Nah, you going to get your time. You going to get your time. I was so angry. That's one of the most angriest times of my life. They said we got to be out in 45 minutes. And you know what made me mad? I'm going to tell you why I was upset. I was upset not only for myself. I was upset because the people was yelling and screaming, no, no, let him finish. Let him finish. This is what we came for. And you know what else bothered me? I didn't have my book yet. My book don't come till the following year. People didn't even get a chance to buy my DVDs. People didn't even get a chance to buy my DVDs. I'm the close-out speaker. People came to hear me along with the other brothers, no slight. But I'm going to keep it real, okay? Half that audience was mine. I'm being respectful. I'm just going to say what it was, okay? People coming up to me complaining. We packing up, rushing to get out. I got people coming to me saying, Doc, I'm very disappointed. Why are you disappointed? I flew here from Chicago. I flew here from Florida. I flew here from Kansas City. I wanted to see the other brothers, but I really came to see you. And the fact that I've been here all these hours and they cut your time, I was hurt. There was an elder who came up to me who flew to New York. He said, I paid $700 for a flight at the last minute. I bought this expensive ass New York hotel because I wanted to hear you in your military science lecture. And now I'm going home and you ain't even got to half of it. I was angry. Those brothers disappointed me and they let me down. And I said, you know what? I'm not working with them no more. That shit was trifling. That shit was trifling. And then to close out, and like I said, I'm not stirring up nothing new. I'm giving my story. Hopefully it don't stir nothing up. If it do, fuck it. Because ain't nobody scared of nobody, okay? So then, to end the night, Sonetta comes over and gives me $400. I have 6 degrees. I am a doctor of psychology. I am a certified school psychologist. I am a certified school principal. I am a child therapist. I paid my own money to take an early flight. And then I drove 2 hours. I got my own hotel. All I asked for was 2 hours to give the people what they came for and to be compensated respectfully, given my talents and my expertise and my credentials, and I was given $400. It was standing room. It was jam-packed. If I'm not mistaken, they were charging, how much was they charging at the door? It was $40 at the door. The National Black Theater was packed. When I got in there, I could barely get through the people. It was packed. And you give Dr. Umar Johnson $400. So if anybody wants to know, and this is I'm closing the book. I don't know what the future holds. But to clarify, if you want to know why I stopped dealing with them two brothers, who I respect them, y'all love them. I'm not asking you to choose. We all family. I'm not asking you to choose nobody. We all family. But to give a man of my stature, I'm just going to keep it real. To give a man of my stature $400 after the sack, my plane ticket costs more than that. I said, nah, never again. A year goes by, and my youngest daughter's mother, and I don't know if she made it up or not, she tells me Sinetta called her and asked her to do a hate DVD against me. I don't know if she made it up or not. Okay? But let me tell you the occasion. Sinetta was having the House of Consciousness Awards. Sinetta was having the House of Consciousness Awards. It was 2013 or 2014. And he wanted me to moderate or keynote the House of Consciousness Awards. But I had already decided, because of what happened the previous year at the gathering of the young masters in a $400 insult, that I wasn't working with him. He claims to have made me because he suggested I do a lecture at the National Black Theater. He did not pay. He did not rent it out. Okay? He did not cover no transportation. All the bills were me, but because he made the suggestion and he taped it, somehow he made me. Wow. So anybody who tapes me made me. That's where I disagree with you, my brother. Don't say you made somebody, because I got people who recommend that I go speak in places all the time. That means they're responsible for my success? Really? So around the time that I declined his offer, that's when she coincidentally says he called her and asked her to make a hate video. I don't know if he did or not. You know, it's over. It's over. Okay, but it didn't help my relationship with him. And then, of course, y'all know, every so often he pops up with something. Okay, I love my brother. I love all my brothers. I love them all. Okay, but can I say this? I want to say that it is my decision who I want to work with. And I don't have to explain my decisions. Okay, I don't think that's arrogant, correct? I believe it's perfectly appropriate for me to say that I decide who I'm going to work with. Nobody going to tell me who I'm going to work with. And anybody who going to hate on me because I don't want to work with them is damn sure somebody I'm not going to work with. Are y'all feeling me? Okay? Are y'all on the same page with your brother right now? Because this is the autobiography of the Prince of Pan-Africanism. Nothing wrong with that, right? E. Dean Cole, Erica Cotton, you cool with that? Quinta Kente, Nicole Mitchell, y'all cool with y'all feeling me, right? Kalia Malkia, y'all feeling. That's all I'm saying. If I decide to part ways with you, don't say I owe you shit, because all the money you made selling my DVDs, all the money you made at the lectures, all the money you made at the gathering of the young masters, I can't possibly owe you anything. And then on top of that, no donation to the school. So my brothers, please. Okay? I got love for Sinetta. I got love for King Simon. I got love for the other ones. But I reserve the right to speak my piece. So then I moved on. Now let me tell you, 2015 is a landmark year. Why is 2015? Now in the meantime, I'm blazing. Now UK is inviting me. Jamaica inviting me. The Rastas. I'm speaking at the Garvey's, University of West. And of course, the university circuit, I own it. I own that. I own it. And to be honest with you, brothers and sisters, I really think the jealousy I get, and don't get me wrong, I'm a little arrogant. Who ain't? Who in the conscious community ain't a little arrogant? What black male isn't? So when they say he arrogant, who not? So y'all not arrogant because I'm winning? So that makes me arrogant? We are arrogant. All men got a little bit of that, but I do try to temper it. I'm a Leo, and I'm Ogun energy. I'm a Leo. So you got Shango meets Ogun. What the hell you think you gonna get? What the hell you think you gonna get? Okay? So anyhow, Nicole Mitchell, cut it out, sweetheart. Anyhow, okay, I'm blazing. Universities, black, I'm just blazing. Countries, I'm just blazing. And you know what? Renoko, let me go back to Renoko. Professor Griff invited me to speak with him in Atlanta, and I think that was January or February of 2013 or 12. Me and Griff in Atlanta. That's when I did military science the second time. So it was 2013. So I did the $400 slight, and then I went to Atlanta to do the Griff piece, right? And me and Griff linked up a couple times. What was I about to say about that? Atlanta. It was something about Atlanta. There was no issue with Griff there, but I was just about to say something about the Atlanta piece. I did I did military science again in Atlanta. Something just skipped my mind. I'm going to have to come back to that. But I'm blazing. I'm just blazing all over the place. I'm just blazing. I'm killing it. Boom, boom, boom. I'm killing. And then the hate started. That's when the hate started. The hate got really bad. 2012, when me and Sinetta fell out, the hate got bad. But then it got worse because other people outside of New York City, and I love New York City. New York City helped to make me. Brooklyn, I can't wait to see y'all June 2nd. Okay? There's certain cities who can say that we helped make him. Chicago is one. In New York is another. Atlanta is another. Just about every city. If I start naming cities, I'm going to name everybody. But New York and Chicago was the first two, and they remain two of the strongest two. New York and Chicago were the first. Renoko, there you go. Thank you. When I spoke with Griff in Atlanta, Griff's manager, Brother Jahi, took me to the hotel to check in. Renoko was there, coincidentally. Shout out to Renoko, Garvia. And Renoko said, who is your publicist? Who is your booking agent? I said, what you mean, Baba Renoko? I ain't got no agent. He said, how you get all these lectures? I said, word of mouth. And to me, it was an honor to hear that from Renoko, because Renoko, up until me, was probably one of the most requested. You understand? Renoko was all around the world. In fact, I'm probably the closest thing to Renoko in terms of global audience, because Renoko was doing his African presence in Asia, Latin America, everywhere, right? So Renoko said, who is your agent in the hotel? We ran into each other. He said, how you getting all these lectures? I said, Renoko, word of mouth. And that's what I want y'all to know. This is all love. I'm in Japan, love. China next week, love. France was love. South Africa, love. I ain't got no agent. Now, don't get me wrong. I am a credentialed professional, so there's booking agencies who reach out to me to schedule stuff, but I don't have nobody going around looking for lectures. Everything I get comes to me. Goree Island, 2005. That's all I got to say. Goree Island, 2005. That's all I got to say. How long does Facebook Live let you go? What is the maximum on Facebook Live? Because I know somebody said we've been on. How long we been on? 2.5? How long is Facebook Live? 3 hours or 3.5? Anybody know how long is Facebook Live? So I'll know how to bring it to a close. Okay. No max? Are you sure? Because I could have sworn Facebook Live had a max. Y'all saying no max? Somebody saying 3 hours. Which one is it? Is it 3 hours or is it no max? Well, if it cut off, I'll just start a new one. No, it's not 2. I think it's 3. I don't think it's 2. Okay. So anyway, I'm blazing. I'm the hottest thing in con. Everywhere I go, elders is like, yo, who the fuck are you? Where you come from? Like, you just, everywhere I went, They would say, you just kicked in the door and took no prisoners. And they'd be like, yo, who the guy from Philly? Who that guard? Who? Boom, boom, boom. And then the rumors started. Does he really have a doctorate? Is he really a school psychologist? Is his name really Umar Johnson? Is he really related to Frederick Douglass? Yeah, see, and I forget who said this. One of our great heroes, ancestors, said, the greatest testament to your power is when people cannot match you, that they resort to character assassination. When people cannot match you, they resort to character assassination. And that's exact. But see, let me talk about the hatred, because I know y'all be wondering, like, how he deal with all these people tearing him down all day, every day. Okay? How do I deal with it? Does it bother me? Yes, because I'm very sincere about what I do. But I've had to toughen my skin because it ain't going to get no better. You know, I draw inspiration from Marcus Garvey. Do you realize that the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey had to deal with W.E.B. Du Bois, A. Philip Randolph, the black communists, Chandler Owens, Cyril Briggs? They went to the government on Garvey and asked the government to get rid of him. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine your enemies who claim to be black leaders going to the United States government and asking the United States government to send your black ass back to Jamaica because you too strong and they can't fucking compete? Garvey got deported because of hating ass black leaders. That's where my inspiration come from. If Garvey could deal with it, I could deal with it. Also, I find comfort and solace in the fact that for every hater I have, I got 1 million supporters. In fact, I would argue that one of the reasons I get so many haters is because they mad at y'all. They not even mad at me. They mad at y'all for being unapologetically in your support of Dr. Umar, and they mad at y'all because they can't flip you and they can't turn you, and they mad at y'all because they used to be Umar supporters and became haters because they couldn't make Umar do what they want him to do. 90% of my haters are haters because they can't use me or they can't be me. I'm going to say it again. 90% of my haters are haters because they can't use me for financial gain or they can't be me. Period. Who said it best? That no one beneath you can insult you, and no one your equal would even try. No one beneath you can insult you, and no one your equal would even try. Right? So the degree thing came, and the degree piece was major, y'all. It got so bad. It got so bad that my college that I got my doctorate from, the Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine. Do y'all think I need to say that 100 times so these silly Negroes stop asking me the same dumbass question? The Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine is where I graduated from. But these jealous Negroes started calling them so much that they called me up last year and said, Umar, white lady, Umar, we're getting phone calls about your credentials, 10 calls a day, 20. We don't know what's going on, but we get all these inquiries about your education, and we're not allowed to release your information without your permission. Do you mind if we let the public know that you went here and that you have a degree and what the degree is in and when you earned it? And you know what I told her? I said, you know what? Up until now, The reason I didn't allow y'all to release my credentials is because I don't have to prove shit to nobody. That's what I told her. I don't have to prove nothing to nobody. But because y'all being inconvenienced, and I don't want y'all being inconvenienced on my account because I done graduated and moved on, only because y'all being bombarded and overwhelmed by jealous black people. Only because y'all being bombarded and overwhelmed by jealous black people, which is embarrassing me. I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed. That college, I went through hell to get that doctorate. I went through hell to get that doctorate, and to go through that only to have people who look like you try to tear you down and call white folks up to verify your credentials in a black conscious community where almost nobody has a doctorate, where almost nobody has a degree at all, where almost nobody has 3 masters, where you got multiple people calling themselves doctor and don't have a real one, and you have a real one, and you got people questioning you and you got a real one. I was embarrassed. But I told them to go ahead because I was embarrassed and I didn't want them to be inconvenienced. I told them that from now on, when you get a phone call, you can tell them. So guess what, brothers and sisters? For the past year and a half, PCOM has been giving out my information. But do you think the hatred about my credentials has stopped? Do you think they've stopped putting out false information? Nope. Nope. Everywhere I go, where you get your degree from, brother? Where you get your degree from, brother? Every other email, where you get your degree from, brother? Where the fuck did everybody else in the conscious community get their degree from? They ain't got none, but you ain't asking them no questions. They ain't got no damn credentials, but you ain't asking them no questions. But everywhere I go, where you get your degree from, brother? Where you get your degree from, brother? Where you get your, can you show it? Can I show you my dissertation? Who the fuck are you? Excuse me. And then we got to talk about the school fundraiser. We got to talk about the school fundraiser. 2014, I learned about the St. Paul's College coming up for sale. Brother Dante from Virginia told me about the St. Paul's College coming up for sale. So I contacted them and they said, we going to auction tomorrow. We starting to bid at $2 million. I said, I need that college. It's a black college. I ain't have no money. Called a lawyer up, paid my own money, had the lawyer approximate an offer. They didn't sell. They invited me to come down. I came down, met with the president. The president let me videotape. Y'all know the video that was put up, one of my favorite videos, the motivational video to get people to donate to St. Paul's. That school just got sold, y'all. It just got sold a couple months ago to a white developer. I wanted St. Paul's bad. I wanted it, but we ain't had the money. But I want to thank all y'all who donated, and I want to thank all my repeat donors. And please forgive me if your deposit happens late. Please forgive me if your deposit happens late, because some things I don't trust other people to do. When it comes to money, y'all money that y'all give, I feel I need to put that check in there myself. They said I was stealing school money. How the hell you stealing school money when the name of the account is the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy? Y'all know what happened last year, right? What happened last year? Last year, GoFundMe froze my account. GoFundMe froze my account because 2 hating ass Negroes called them and told them that this was a front and I was spending the money on myself. Y'all remember there was a day or two where you couldn't donate? Do y'all remember that? That's because a group of black people, jealous Negroes, I'm not even going to call their name, because when I see them two on the street, I don't think it's going to be peace. You understand? Me and Sonetta and Simon, we could have a conversation. But them two, and one of them from Philly. I don't know what's going to happen when I see him on the street. Some reason I ain't ran into him yet, but divine order going to bring us together, and I can't say what's going to happen because he has went too far for too long. So anyway, GoFundMe calls me up and say, we have reason to believe that this account is fraudulent. We're getting the inquiry. I said, can you give me the names of the inquiries? Can you give me the names of the people asking questions about my GoFundMe? And I will promise you that none of them have donated a penny. And I will promise you that they are haters. And then I said, if you want, I'll give you a list of my haters and you can match them up. Well, we just need proof that you're not spending this money since you don't have a school yet. Oh, I'm going to do better than that, white people. Guess what I'm going to do, good white people? I'm going to give you the banking institution. I'm going to give you the bank account number. I'm going to give you the routing number. I'm going to give you the account balance. I'm going to give you the branch manager name and number. I'm going to call the branch manager and tell the branch manager that if you get a phone call from GoFundMe, you have a right to answer any questions they have about this account. And then I told the good white people at GoFundMe, who takes 15% of our damn money in the first place, you the one robbing my people, not me. I told the good people at GoFundMe, why don't you, the first question I want you to ask the bank, ask them, has a withdrawal ever been made from the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy account? Has a withdrawal, we started the account in 2014. It is now 2017. That's about 3 years, right? April of 2014 to April last month, 3 years. How many withdrawals have I made from the account? Anybody want to answer for me? Any of my supporters want to tell these damn haters how many withdrawals I have made? Take a guess. Somebody please take a guess. How many withdrawals have I made from the FDMG account? Anybody want to take a guess? Somebody take a guess. How many? Thank you. Thank you, E. Dean Cole. Thank you, Jimmy Crackcorn. I hope that ain't your real name, Crackcorn. If it is, it's okay. Katrina, none. I've never taken $1 out. So then the haters say, well, how you be flying around to look at these schools? I pay for it out my pocket, you fool. I've never taken a penny out that account, and I will never take a penny out that account until we ready to buy a school. Facts. My ancestors are my witness. Who give a damn about them haters? I told you. This mission was made in Goree Island, 2005. So I had to deal with that. And then they was caught. Oh, I was investigated twice. I'm just telling y'all the truth. I was investigated by the Pennsylvania Professional Board of Psychology a couple years ago because some black people, here we go, no white folks, ain't been no white people yet. Ain't been no white people yet. Pennsylvania State Board of Psychology received information that Dr. Umar Johnson was claiming to be licensed. Black family, has anyone ever seen the word licensed in front of my name? Do you see the word licensed on the cover of my book? I got my book. Hold on. Here's my book, and it's still in plastic. Some of you have bought this book in Brooklyn, New York. All my parents, you need to come get a copy on Friday, June 2nd. And of course, I'm dealing with another problem with my book. And what is that? I got Hoteppers bootlegging my damn book. So now I got to find out who's bootlegging my damn book so I can shut them down. So please don't buy my book online. Buy my book from me. If you need the link to buy my book, all you have to do is text or email me and I will send you the link. Okay? All the orders up until I left for Japan have been shipped. If you've ordered my book since I left for Japan, you will get it when I get back to Philly on the 30th. Okay? So, anybody see the word licensed? What does that say? It says doctor of clinical psychology, and it says certified school psychologist. Okay? A school psychologist who is certified can practice privately if they are employed by a school, which I am. Okay? So I can do my own thing as a school psychologist because a certified school psychologist can work privately. If I want to do clinical work, I have to get my license or I have to get my work signed off on by a licensed psychologist. Now, let me take y'all back a little bit. Do y'all remember when I first graduated? Who was around supporting Dr. Umar in 2012? Do y'all remember when I graduated? I posted the pictures of my graduation, me and my mom, me and my brothers, okay? Me and my friend, right? And what was I doing the entire 2013 and 14? What was I doing, Chicago? Wasn't I trying to find a postdoc intern so I could get licensed? Do any of y'all remember that? When Umar was like, if anybody know of any psychologists in your town who got a job, I will come and work for them so I can get my license. Does anybody remember me saying, remember? I kept looking, but I couldn't find a postdoc because most of the black psychologists, a lot of them was too scared to take me on because I know more than them. In many cases, not to be disrespectful, I know more than them. Okay, and the white folks, I don't think I can do that. Okay. So guess what? About 2 years ago, I gave up on a license because I don't need it. If I need to do clinical work, all I have to do is get a licensed psychologist to sign. I do clinical work now. I got agencies that bring me in to do evals. I do the work and they sign it. So what is the difference between you being a doctor of clinical psychology and somebody else being a licensed doctor? They can do work without supervision. I have to get somebody to sign. That's the only difference between me and someone with a license. But let me tell you what these Negroes been doing. Who don't know nothing about psychology. Ain't none of them psychologists, by the way. They called the Professional Board of Psychology and said he's a fraud because we don't see him listed as having a license. You dumb mother. We don't see him listed as having a license. Of course, I'm not going to be listed as having a license because I don't have a license, you dummy. In order to get a license means I have to go back to work for white folks or black folks for a whole year. All it is hours. You got to accumulate. What is it? 1,500 hours? Where my psychology doctorate students at? What is it? 1,500 hours? 2,000? I don't have time. I'm too busy saving my people. So there you go. Maybe I'll get the license after I get to school, but I'm not concerned about no damn license because most of my work is as a school psychologist and I'm already certified to do that alone. Facts. So I get hit from all sides, y'all. I got the doctoral people. So I was investigated by the state and I'm being investigated again. I'm under investigation again because of jealous people. And I'm upset at y'all too because sometimes y'all fan those flames like somebody. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I'm going to just be honest. I believe somebody like me, and I'm not alone, but I believe people who do a critical work, I believe the people should step up for us and shut the haters down. I shouldn't have to. If I'm saving your child, why can't you speak up for me once in a while? See, that's what bothers me about the black community. You know, I've helped a lot of y'all save y'all children. You know, I've helped a lot of y'all. And when y'all see hate, y'all don't even speak up for me. The people who speak up for me are people who don't even know me. And that's why I thank y'all because y'all will speak up for me. And some of y'all never even met me, but you feel my spirit. But people who know me well, they don't speak up for me. The people who know me well, they never speak up for me. In fact, occasionally I catch them communicating on social network with people who have said some of the most disgusting things. How the hell you gonna be on my team? How you gonna claim to be for me? How you gonna want to be in my organization and you are communicating openly with people who have tried to destroy my damn life? They not just hating. They contacted the IRS. I had to deal with the IRS because of black people. I had to deal with the National Association of School Psychologists because of black people. I had to deal with the Pennsylvania Board of Professional Psychology because of black people. And I'm out here busting my ass and you Negroes sit by, let people hate and don't say a damn thing and claim you roll with me. That's why I stay by myself. Because half of you ain't nothing but some fair weather friends. If it could benefit you, you all for it. If you could be seen, you all for it. If you get something out of it, you all for it. But when that hate come, your ass ain't nowhere around. Thank God for the ancestors. Because I'm telling you, if I didn't have them, that's why once I found my ancestors in Gori, I can never go back without it. I can never go back to not dealing with my ancestors. I didn't ask them to do too many things for me, and they didn't save me so many times. So going forward, brothers and sisters, other lecturers and scholars begin to hate. Other lecturers, and I remember one lecturer, he went around telling people back in 2012 that he just the new hot thing. He gonna pop for a minute and then he gonna die out. This is what he gonna pop for a minute and then he gonna die out. Well, my brother, it's been 7 years. That popcorn's still popping. And it's popping more than anybody else's popcorn. So I know you still waiting for me to fall off, but you're going to be waiting for a damn long time because we 10 years in. And y'all ain't found a replacement yet. I know y'all looking. That's another thing too, brothers and sisters. I'll be hearing this, yeah, they trying to find somebody. They got to find another psychologist. Man, please. You could get another psychologist, but you can't get another Ifatunde. You can get another psychologist. You can't get another Ifatunde. You can't put these variables together. Which is why when people say they made me, I always say, go make another me. Go make another. If it was that easy. Ain't nobody in the conscious community touching me. I'm practical. I'm dealing with practical solutions. Y'all ain't got no organization. Ain't none of y'all got no organizations. I got the National Independent Black Parent Association. I got that college tour coming up. I got FDMG coming up. I got the repatriate. It ain't everything. Don't get me wrong. It ain't everything. I got much more to do. It's nothing. It's nothing. This is small work. This light work. But the heavy work is coming. This is light work. But the heavy work is coming. And then some of y'all come to my lectures and sit in the audience and be hating. The next time somebody come to my lecture, y'all better drag their ass out. Don't you ever let somebody sit in my audience and be talking under their breath. You identify them. All you got to do is raise your hand and say hater alert, and I will get security to drag their ass out. Because after the lecture, y'all say, Dr. Umar, there was a guy sitting next to me, and he was just saying all kind of stuff about you under his breath. Why you ain't say nothing? Don't let nobody sit through my lectures like, no. Pass me a piece of paper. Go get a security guard. Get them asses out of there. You got to be ride or die if you're rolling with me, because my haters are some of the worst out. I don't know what my haters eat for lunch or for breakfast. So then we gotta, I don't know if I want to talk about this because that's going to, I know what I'm thinking about, right? I was going to get some clarity on a certain situation that occurred between me and a certain female 2 years ago. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? But I know she thirsty for attention, so I don't know if I want to give any clarity right now. All right? But I will say this. I was hurt to see so many black people fall for a bogus story from a woman I had only spent time with 3 times in the same 8-day period. 3 times in the same 8 days. It was 8 days. And of that 8 days, it was only 3 evenings. And it bothered me that y'all would let somebody tell y'all that I was stealing school money without that person having no evidence or no facts. Y'all went crazy. In the conscious community, them jealous Negroes, all of them. All of them. Why don't I mess with polite? Okay? I love my brother. I ain't got nothing. But one of the reasons I would never work with him is because when that situation went down, y'all remember, he made a 90-minute video. He made a 90-minute video with his daughter, a child. And he had a child criticizing me. You don't ever let no child criticize no grown-ass man she don't even know, and then what she was saying out of her mouth was incorrect. Dr. Umar, if he going to be a leader of our people, he shouldn't be in the strip club. If Dr. Umar going to be a leader of our people, Princess, I don't know why your father let you disrespect a grown-ass man in the first place. But Dr. Umar was never in no strip club. Dr. Umar never been to a strip club. I met someone who I was told was a homeschooling parent operating a homeschooling movement and wanted my support at a Rastafari Marcus Garvey celebration in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We were at the library, the Rastas. I was the keynote speaker. She waited till the end of the event and she approached me and introduced herself and her son, who was a fine young man. I have nothing to say against that young brother. And she said, I'm homeschooling him and I've been homeschooling him and I want to work with you so you can help me because I'm putting together a homeschool network. I'm from Philadelphia. I'll be coming back home. Sure, sister, hit me up. I'm a man. She's a woman. I was single. She was single. Things transpire. And certain things that should have been made known up front, certain things that should have been made known up front was not. And then I go to Atlanta to attend the graduation of a young sister I know, getting her bachelor's degree from Spelman on the anniversary of the Brown versus Board of Education decision, May 17, 2015. I believe it was 15 or 14. I think it was 15. And I'm at the graduation, and I'm posting pictures at the graduation. Her daddy, her mommy, her. I know her family. I'm not dating her. She's 21. I'm 40. Are you crazy? But a certain female, I believe, thought that she was being abandoned for a 21-year-old Spelman College graduate. And on the same day as that graduation, she went on a character assassination spree I never even heard of before. After 3 nights. After 3 nights, she was qualified to tell you that I was stealing money. Did she see any books? Did she see any receipts? Did I ever take out the school account's credit card and pay for anything? No, because we never went out. And a lot of you Hotep Negroes, not just Brother Polite, but the fact that he made a 90-minute video, that shit turned my stomach. I ain't got no problems with him now. It's old. I'm just giving y'all my side because you never heard it. That shit turned my stomach. You don't make no 90-minute video about somebody you don't fucking know. You mind your business. If y'all notice, I don't speak on nobody. I don't speak or I mind my business. Why couldn't you do the same? And then to put a child in the video, brother? Nah. Cut. One thing y'all need to learn about me, y'all should know this, and this go for everybody. Loyalty is very important to me. I'm a Leo. The L in Leo stands for loyalty. When you cross me, it's normally over forever. It's normally over forever. Maybe I could bring myself to work with a Sinetta sometime in the future, but it's going to be hard. Because when you cross me, it's hard. I drop people like bad habits. Public relationships, professional relationships, and personal. Cross me and your ass is dropped like a bad habit. It don't matter how much I was digging you, feeling you, supporting you, riding with you. Cross me today, you're dropped tomorrow. I don't play treachery. I don't play treachery. So that's why I stopped fucking with him. But do y'all remember that whole period? That first year? Do y'all remember that? Every radio show, like everybody's show, was about me and her. Damn. Every show in the... What do y'all think about the... What do you... Is he a fraud? You know, the sister said he was stealing money. Ain't nobody asked for no evidence. Ain't nobody asked for no evidence. Everywhere I turned, y'all was tearing me down. I said, but you know what? Some of y'all rode for me hard. Some of y'all rode for me hard. There's a sister out of Atlanta. I don't remember her name because I never met her. But I want to thank that sister. I don't remember her name because I never met her. But I want to thank that sister. She did a video backing me up and rocking with me. I could have hugged and gave her a kiss on the cheek. Thank you, Queen. A lot of y'all rode with me. But you know what bothered me, though? I think the sisters rode with me more than the brothers did. I think the sisters rode with me more than the brothers. I have brothers, though. Don't get me wrong. I got the most diverse following in the conscious community. I got the brothers too, but the sisters, some of the brothers, they thought they smelled blood. A lot of them said, this is our chance to get him out the way. Let's dig this shit as deep as we can get it. And y'all took those 3 nights with that woman. Y'all took those 3 nights with that woman and y'all turned it into a damn conscious community soap opera. But God works in mysterious ways. God works in mysterious ways. Why you say God works in mysterious ways, Dr. Umar? I say God works in mysterious ways because out of nowhere, the Breakfast Club. Out of nowhere, the Breakfast Club. Out of nowhere, the Breakfast Club threw me an alley-oop in the middle of that bullshit. Charlemagne and Envy threw me an alley-oop in the middle of that bullshit. And I caught that alley-oop with 2 hands on a court full of haters. And I dunked that shit. Reverse dunk. I pumped it 3 times and dunked that damn basketball in that Breakfast Club hoop. And all you sorry Negroes who tried to destroy me was done because overnight, a whole new audience then found Papa. A whole new audience then found Papa. God works in mysterious. That's why y'all got to keep y'all faith. This whole thing has just simply taught me to keep my faith. I get down about the school fundraiser. Yeah, I wanted the school by now, you know. I'm tired of people saying, where the money at? Where the money at? Where you think? What school you gonna get for $700 grand? Pay for operations, insurance, utilities, teachers, you dumb, silly. The money is in the bank. I'll tell you like I told GoFundMe. And they promptly reinstated my account because they called the bank and the bank said, this man ain't touched a penny in 3 years. He ain't made a single withdrawal in 3 years. That money going to stay. And you know what? Y'all Negroes will hound me for 700 grand, but you spent $9 billion on perm last year. Did you hound the Koreans and ask them what they were doing with your perm money? You Negroes spent $2 billion on Air Jordans. Did you hound Nike and ask them what they do with your Jordan money? You spent $4 billion on liquor. Did you hound Alizé and Ciroc and Hennessy and ask them how they was investing your alcohol money? You spent $600 million on McDonald's. Did you hound anybody asking them about McDonald's? You Negroes send your children to white folks every day to get miseducated. You Negroes who criticize me send your children to white people every day to be misdiagnosed, kicked out of school, left back, graduated without skill, put on Ritalin, Adderall, Prozac, Strattera, Psych Clerk. They put your kids in special ed, put them in classrooms where teachers are not even certified to teach, and you don't ask them crack a shit. You don't ask them crack a shit. You ain't never asked a school district for a curriculum. You ain't never asked a principal for the budget. You ain't never asked a board of education for the business plan. And they've been miseducating black children for over 65 years, and you got the audacity. See, I stay quiet on a lot of shit because it ain't worth it. That situation I had with SETI during Kwanzaa, I wish I never did it. I don't regret it, but I wish I never did it. Because I forgot how trifling y'all is. I did that video so he could see it, and I took it down the next morning. Jacksonville, Florida. I took the video down, but by then you Negroes then already snatched it, ran with it, shared it, edited it, memed it. And then I wake up the next morning in Jet Magazine. Jet Magazine is doing a story on the SETI Umar beef. Jet Magazine ain't do a story on Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey fundraiser. Jet Magazine ain't do a story on the Black College and Consciousness tour. Jet Magazine ain't do a story on the Afrakan tour that I take every year. And if any of y'all want to go with me this year, Ghana, Togo, Benin, summer 2017, Ghana, Togo, Benin, July 27th to August the 12th, August the 10th. Text me if you need registration. July 27th to August the 10th. Text me if you need registration. 215-989-9858. 215-989-9858. 215-989-9858. Okay? I ain't got nothing negative to say about Brother SETI because at least he RBG, y'all. To be honest with you, if I felt bad about anything, I felt bad about the fact that I was going at it with probably the only other brother who stands on that African identity. I would have rather beefed with somebody who didn't. You understand me? But he's RBG, so that wasn't something that we should have ever got into. But I'm going to tell you right now, you say my name disrespectfully, I can't swallow that shit. Don't matter who you is. Okay? But he's RBG and I respect that. Okay? Our methods are different. Our mannerisms are different. Our scholarship is different. But the brother has made a significant contribution and I respect him. Facts. Okay? So, that was that. They tried to slam dunk. And do you know what's up? Right after the Breakfast Club alley-oop, Right after the Breakfast Club alley-oop, the same Negroes who tried to destroy me tried to get back on my good side. God, are you kidding? You tried to destroy my school. Listen, it's one thing to say that you feel a man is taking advantage of a woman. I don't know how you can take advantage of somebody older than you. I didn't know she was older than me because the age wasn't told. But how do you take advantage of somebody older than you when they're... But nonetheless, after the situation was over, the same people tried to destroy me, tried to get back in my good grace, and got angry because I didn't let them. And got angry. You listen, I don't care if you say, talk about me with women, he ain't married. You have a right to that criticism if it's a criticism. Shaka Zulu never got married. George Washington Carver never got married. It's fine though. I believe we should be married. That's fine. But you don't attack a project to give our children a better chance at life. See, that's my problem. Y'all could have kept it on the relationship end and y'all could have ran all night, but y'all brought it over. Y'all brought it over and start trying to use it to tear down my school. And that's when I knew that there's no honor amongst thieves. So then I start doing the African tour. And I enjoy the African tour. First year we went to Morocco and Ghana. Second year we did Egypt and Ghana. Last year we did South Africa and Senegal. This year we're doing Ghana, Togo, Benin. If you need the registration, text me 215-989-9858. 215-989-9858. 215-989-9858 if you want the Africa registration. Okay? So this shit, but let me tell you my issues with the Africa trip. 3 issues. Number 1, I got to do a better job of getting the package out earlier so y'all have more time to pay. I got to do a better job of getting the package out earlier so y'all have more time to pay. I take full responsibility for that. Total responsibility for that. The reason why it takes long, because I'm always trying to find y'all a good price. And I sometimes think people be trying to take advantage. And I don't want none of y'all being taken advantage of. I don't make any money off of the Africa trip. If you don't believe me, just ask the travel agent. What is Umar's cut? Just ask him. I don't do it for money. I do it to reconnect you to the land of your birth. For those of y'all who know y'all black, because we got a lot of Negroes, they ain't from Africa, look just like Shaka Zulu, talking about they not from Africa. But be that as it may, for those of y'all who know y'all black, I want to reconnect you to your African heritage. That's why I do that trip. But every year, these past 3 years, every year I get 2 or 3 people to come on my trip who don't like me. And I don't know why you on my damn trip. This is a vacation for me as much as it is a vacation for you. So if you don't want to speak to me, you feel like you don't have to speak to the tour leader. You're on the Umar Johnson tour, but you don't have to say good morning. You don't have to say good afternoon. You don't have to say good. You don't have to speak. What is you on my bus for? What is you on my plane for? What are you here for? Stop coming on my trip if you don't mess with me. Go on. Ajwa Kwesi got trip. Baba Smalls got trip. A lot of people run trips to Africa. Mine is more popular amongst people under 40 because it's a younger crowd. My trip is more popular for the young people because I'm young. We have fun. We go to clubs. We bust it up. It's a young people's trip. If you under 40, you probably want to be on the Umar trip because it's catered to the younger crowd. But every year I got 2 or 3 people with nasty ass attitudes. What you come, don't like. One year I went on the trip. The brother I walked past the brother. He talked about me to another brother. Another year I'm on a trip. One of the elder brothers thought he was going to take my place. Brother, this is my trip. I will throw your ass off this bus. You don't make no decisions on this tour. You an elder. I respect you, but this is my damn trip. Don't make me King Kong your ass in Africa, damn it. So that's the only problem with the Africa trip. I love doing it, but there's always one or two. It ain't a lot. Most people come, they love me, they support me, we have fun. But it's always one or two party poopers who want to make my 2 weeks difficult. When I say we leaving for the slave dungeon at 10 o'clock, they want to come down at 10:30. I tell them we only getting money out the ATM Monday and Wednesday. They start crying, I need money Tuesday. So why you ain't say that yesterday? You just want to piss me off. One year, I had somebody disagree and challenge everything I said in front of everybody on the bus. And I was hurt because I thought that was a supporter of mine. You feel me? But I like doing the Africa trip. But if you say, Dr. Umar, what was the highlight? What has been your highlights? I'm going to give you my biggest highlight. My biggest highlight has been being able to help all of you help your children. Nothing gives me greater satisfaction than to get a text or an email from a parent saying, what you told me to do on that Tuesday morning call, what I read in your book, I did it and it worked. Thank you so much. You saved my child. You can't put a price on that. When you get an email from a husband and a wife together, when you get an email from a husband and a wife together saying we watched your relationship video and your relationship video saved a 20-year marriage, sometimes I'll be thinking people be making shit up. Sometimes I think people be making shit up for somebody to tell you, your video saved my marriage. You can't put a price on that. I've had elders say, Doc, you've saved me in ways you don't even know. You helped me get my life together. You the reason I'm working on my doctorate. You the reason I opened my own business. You can't put a price on that. When you get a letter in the mail from a 6-year-old, Dr. Umar, I love you. Don't let them get you down. Open that school because I'm going to be the first one. Written in crayon? You can't put no price on that. That's my greatest highlight. I help people. I don't just share information. I help people. I save lives. That's why I became a psychologist. I don't just share information. Stop putting me in the same category with people who don't do nothing but share information, ideology, and ideas. There's nothing wrong with information, ideology, and ideas, but you don't put a worker in the same box with a thinker. I love Tupac Shakur. Tupac was my greatest rapper, my favorite rapper. He was politically conscious, but I ain't never putting Tupac in the same box with Malcolm X. What's wrong with y'all? Denzel is a great actor. Yes, he is. So is Forrest Whitaker. They've done a good job of protecting the integrity of the black male image on film. Kudos to both of them. They slip up from time to time. Nobody's perfect, but for the most part, at least in the past 10 years, they've done a good job upholding the image of the black male most of the time. But I'm not putting them in the same box with Marcus Garvey. And y'all Negroes got a bad habit of lumping me in with people who ain't saved a single life in their life. I know I'm going to get a million texts by morning. Why did you tell all that? You got to keep some stuff to yourself. You know why I told all this today? Because I ain't getting no younger at 40. And I expect to live a long life. But at least y'all could connect some of the, dot some of the I's and cross the T's. If I ain't around when we get to that finish line. Because we getting to the finish line. Trust me, as surely as I'm standing here. We getting to that finish line. And I plan to be with you. Rest in peace, Dr. King. We gonna get to that mountaintop, my brother. I promise you that. We might not live to see it. We may, pass on at 100, but we gonna get to that finish line. So that's the Africa trip. And another highlight, I'm gonna tell you something that has done so much. My biggest accomplishment outside of helping you with your children, my biggest accomplishment was last year's Black College and Consciousness Tour. I cried when I went home. I said, thank you, God. We only had 20 students last year. If y'all need the registration for this year, y'all need to text me. The Black College and Consciousness Tour, June 28th, July 10th, is $2,000. $1,000 is due now. The next 1,000 ain't due till June 18th, 10 days before we leave. We're going to the Malcolm and Betty Shabazz Center, the world famous Apollo Theater. We're going to the Ferncliff Cemetery to pour libations at Malcolm grave, Betty grave, Khalid Abdul Muhammad grave, Dr. Yusuf bin Yaqin grave, Paul Robeson, young Malcolm Shabazz, yes. Cheney University, Lincoln University, the Harriet Tubman House, the Harriet Tubman Museum, the Harriet Tubman grave, Frederick Douglass grave, Cheney University, Lincoln University, Delaware State University, University of Maryland Eastern Shore, Coppin State, Bowie State, Morgan State, Howard University, the Black African Holocaust Museum, Harriet Tubman hometown, the Underground Railroad Tour, Benjamin Banneker, the Liberty Bell, Nat Turner, Great Adventures, Dorney Park, paintball, the beach, the movies, the pool parties. If you got a son or daughter, son or daughter, register them now. They will love it. I'm telling you, they will love it. Go to princeofpanafricanism.eventbrite.com. Go to princeofpanafricanism.eventbrite.com. I love being with them kids for them 2 weeks. I know we changed them forever. They don't even think about it. If you 12 and somebody take you to Nat Turner land, you won't even comprehend what happened until you 20. You 12 and you go to the place where Malcolm X lost his life, you ain't gonna comprehend that till they don't even know what they went through. Benjamin Banneker's house. This is the man who designed DC, invented the almanac. Benjamin Banneker. It was so much fun. We had so much fun. And I can't wait to do it again. So I'm hoping y'all didn't spend all your money on New Year's and 4th of July and Christmas. And I'm hoping that you all saved at least $2,000 to send your son or daughter on the 2nd annual Unapologetically African Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Black College and